Kentucky Speedway, round 12 of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. The Kroger 225, and the crowds have turned out, to say the least. We had rain about, at 6 o'clock Eastern time. They built it, we came, and they certainly have. The fact the traffic was backed up on I-71 starting at 1:30 Eastern time this afternoon. It's now just a little bit past 7:30. You can see the fans are still filing in, and the rain hit here at 6 o'clock Eastern time, and we're under a bit of a delay, but we are going to get this race started. In fact, there is some of the traffic pulling into this brand new 1.5-mile facility that holds 69,000 spectators, and they are expecting just about every single seat to be sold tonight. And look at these fans. They are hungry for NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series racing. They're hungry for racing, period, in this part of the country, Pinky.
In Kentucky. And what the drivers were telling me this afternoon, if that's what the drivers, when they talk about racing here last night in happy hour, their eyes sparkle. They said, this is going to be something special tonight. These trucks are able to draft, just like they did at Daytona, Talladega. The racetrack, they've worn that first layer off the racetrack. They now are getting some grip. They feel comfortable out there. So it looks like tonight's going to be very, very exciting. And when the driver's eyes sparkle, you know you're in for something special.
Well, one of the projects that this track had to come about and make a major change was they had a problem with the actual surface. Rather than just doing one patch, they tore up the whole thing and started all over and have done a miraculous job. In fact, there is only one segment that the guys say that they feel any kind of a bump whatsoever, and it's down here in turn 4.
That's there. You see it starting the black right on the inside next to the solid white line, going all the way into turn 3, and you see where it ends there. I guess that after the pavement, they still had some bumps there they had to try to fix. And the drivers say that when they hit that, they do feel the truck lift, come off the ground. And when it lands, they're a little apprehensive about exactly how it's going to land.
Let's take a look at our track description so you get an idea what the Kentucky Speedway looks like. As we mentioned, it's about 1.5 miles. 150 laps tonight will equal 225 miles. Now, the backstretch is 1,600 feet straight on, but in the banking, it's 14 degrees in the corners, 8 degrees on the backstretch, and the tri-oval is 10 degrees, which is a little bit different than some of the other tracks, and the guys say it actually pitches your truck down to the bottom.
When you come off turn 4, they're talking about just taking the truck and just kind of leading it down to the bottom of the racetrack. And that's one reason that makes these guys' eyes sparkle so much, is because if that leads that truck down, they feel like they can drive up on the outside. And last night they had a 100-lap Slim Jim All-Pro race. They did work in a second groove. In happy hour last night, those guys talked about being able to drive on the outside and pass someone.
Let's take a look at what happened after Texas, if you had a chance to see the rain-delayed event from there. In fact, this is our 4th rain delay of the season. The points championship is just so close, the closest in all of the NASCAR touring divisions. After 11 races, 47 markers separate Greg Biffle, Jack Sprague, Mike Wallace, and Andy Houston. And Dave Burns is caught up with the man who's going to start on the outside of row number 1, our current points leader, Greg Biffle.
And Marty, he knows that 14-point spread he has over Sprague is nothing when you consider the rest of the season now. He is one of the guys who did find a good handle on the new Kentucky Speedway. And Greg, last week when you qualified on the pole, you said you were a little nervous because you knew that you had the truck that could win. You said you're more nervous this week. Now why? You're on the outside pole.
I feel we have about the same truck as we did last week. The truck's real good. The guys did a great job back at the fab shop again, engine shop. And, you know, we got a real good chance to win today. And like my crew chief put it last week, Randy Goss, he said, you know, the only way that we can lose the race is by making mistakes, and that puts more pressure on you when you got that good a truck, is to make those mistakes and look foolish. But, you know, we'll just race these guys hard tonight, and we think we can be there at the end.
What do you think the track is going to be like right now? It's rained all night. I've heard some guys say we're going to set up the way that we think it was last night. How are you guys set up?
We set the same way. What's going to happen is it's going to be real free, real loose about the first 10 laps, and everybody's going to be screaming about it, and hopefully everybody will keep it under them. But they just washed the rubber off the racetrack, and that's the way the racetrack was when we got here. But, you know, it'll be okay after about 10 laps. I think it'll come in pretty well, and we might have to give up a little bit at the beginning because we got the chassis pretty free to keep turning around this kind of racetrack the whole way.
Okay, Greg Biffle will go off on the outside pole. Amy East is standing by with the driver who's now chasing him in the points.
Thanks, Dave. And Jack Sprague is one of those drivers that applies a lot of pressure on himself. And after what was almost a devastating Texas last weekend for you guys, how do you bounce back? How do you regroup and come out with a 4th place qualifying position here at Kentucky?
Almost devastating. It was devastating, but I tell you, the guys have done a great job. We really weren't that good when we unloaded, and Dennis kept working on the truck, and we really thought we had a shot at the pole. We ended up second practice quick, and thought legitimate shot at winning the pole here in Kentucky. But I'll tell you, these guys have built an awesome racetrack. These guys got a lot of class. They didn't leave no stone unturned. And I tell you, there's a lot of people here, and anybody that's not here has definitely missed a beautiful facility opening, and couldn't be prouder to be here.
Well, we're really excited to get racing, and I know that you told me after happy hour that you almost felt like you were white-knuckling it around this place. Tell me a little bit about the track surface and what your truck does in the drafting situation.
Well, actually, happy hour, I was more comfortable then than I had been all weekend trying to get qualified. It's just, you know, it's a brand-new racetrack. It's got a lot of grip, therefore you're not off the throttle very often. And, you know, you just felt like you were on the edge of losing it the whole time. But once you untape them and put some downforce in them and get ready to race, it's a whole different story. And it was a lot of fun drafting last night. And, you know, the happy hour deal. But I think we've got a decent truck. I don't think we've got the best truck here, but if I had anybody in my pits other than Dennis Conner, I'd be worried about it. I'm sure he'll make some good adjustments, and we'll be fine.
All right, go get him, Jack.
Thank you.
So we've heard from the top two, and NASCAR in the Bluegrass. We're about 30 miles south of Cincinnati, and the fans are still filing in for the inaugural running here in the Kroger 225. Brand new Kentucky Speedway, the 36 trucks that qualified for tonight's event. Drivers have been called to their trucks, so they will be in the process of strapping in, and that means that we're going to be just a few minutes away from hopefully getting this race started. Now, we talked about new faces a little bit earlier. Chris Horn is one of those new faces, and Marty Houston also up front for the first time in a few races in the qualifying, and Amy is with him now.
Well, it seems as though Marty Houston and the entire Spears team has brought a lot of confidence to the racetrack lately. You predicted a top 5 qualifying position. You're starting third. Where's all this confidence come from lately?
Well, it's the same truck we had at Texas. We ran really good there. Jack's over making faces at me, but I'll take care of him later. Really good motors from Mike Kennedy, and you know, this truck's got a great body on it. Goodyear brought a great tire. We unloaded in the top 5, and we've been real confident here. The rain showers threw a little bit of a monkey wrench into our plans, but you know, we freed up like everybody else and take it a little conservative on the start. We feel like we're real good on a long run, so you know, just put on a great show. This is a great facility, and good Lord's blessed us with some sunshine here, so we'll see what happens.
Well, Marty Houston has been called to his truck, so we're going to let him jump in, but we're going to get a quick word with Chris Horn, who's standing by with Dave Burns.
And Amy, the amazing thing here is this is a family operation. Chris and his dad Fred have put together this team and are running 5 races this year. He's already finished 16th 2 times at Pikes Peak and at Texas. Now, Chris, you came here and you qualified 6th. Why do you think you guys were so good at this place?
2 reasons. First off is everyone started off the blank slate here. No one had setup sheets. We got a pretty good advice on some setups. And the second factor is we ran last week, and every time you can get continuous track time, it helps you out. That's the biggest thing is when you have a month layoff and try to get back in the seat and run with these guys run every week. It's tough to compete. So
We'll have to send you to the go-kart track or something. Now, you guys had a little motor problem in happy hour. Have you resolved that?
Yeah, we lost the motor in happy hour. Only got 2 laps in. We got another motor brought in from Cedar Rapids, and hopefully she'll last.
Well, and I think Benny mentioned it earlier. They build their own, so it's up to them now to see that the second one lasts tonight, guys.
Well, and a thing to think about here, I mean, before this race, the highest he's ever qualified is 18th. He's now starting 6th. What an adrenaline rush that's got to be, BP.
Has to be very exciting, but he said that he got some good tips from someone on the setup. Who would that possibly be? We'll have to sneak that out and try to find that out for the next time Chris Horn comes around.
What are you thinking about coming out of retirement?
No, I'm not giving it. But I mean, there's someone feeding some very, very good information. We need to find who that is.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to find out if we're going to go racing here in just a matter of a few minutes. The drivers have been called to the truck. Stay with us here at the Kroger 225. It's me to erect a 50-story building, 45 miles of asphalt, a state-of-the-art facility. In the movie Field of Dreams, the voice whispered, "If you build it, they will come." Well, they've built it, and we are here. ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, and NASCAR 2000. Tonight we're live at the inaugural event of the Kentucky Speedway, round 12 of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, the Kroger 225. Let's take a look at the points championship coming in. It is Greg Biffle on top of Jack Sprague by 14, but notice 4 drivers are within less than 50 points. Sprague, Wallace, and Andy Houston in 4th place.
That's how few championship points separate the top 4 in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, making it the most competitive series in all of NASCAR. Each has experienced the normal ups and downs of a season, and now they're closer than ever. If one falters tonight, the others won't hesitate to attack. We'll see who can weather the storm in Kentucky. And I had a chance to talk with 2 of those drivers earlier. First, Andy Houston. He says he has zero clue what the track is going to do today after the rains last night here in Kentucky. But their calculated guess that it's going to stay the same. So they are going as they practice in happy hour. Mike Wallace agrees, but he said something very interesting. All 4 of the guys that are racing at the top of the championship chase, their trucks are all doing the same things this weekend. So watch the top 4 runners. They're going to be about the same as their changes go tonight. But one thing that's not going to be the same, the track we race at in Kentucky, and nobody's happier about that than Greg Biffle.
When Greg Biffle last visited Kentucky, it was the bullring of Louisville Motor Speedway where he lost the '99 championship to Jack Sprague. Now he's on the heels of a victory at Texas Motor Speedway where he beat the weather and the competition to take over the points lead. Jack Sprague, however, is coming off a devastating weekend where his crew showed a frustration we've never seen before. Can they regain focus in the bluegrass state tonight? Well, both drivers seem to be a little nervous this weekend. We heard Greg Biffle say earlier he's nervous because he thinks he has the truck to beat here this weekend. Jack Sprague, a little nervous of what his truck will do in the drafting condition. But an interesting fact is that 3 of the crew members pulled me aside and said, you know what, last weekend it looked like we were mad at each other, but we've joked it off and decided we were just intensely giving each other some high fives. We're out to win this race.
And there's quite a few that are out to win this race tonight. And we talk about a brand new facility. These guys have had a tough time, Benny Parsons, trying to figure out this brand new 1.5-mile race surface.
When these trucks got here on Thursday, it was a absolute brand new surface with that new crust, that new layer on new asphalt. And they really had the trucks loose, slipping and sliding all over the racetrack. Well, they wore that off. They came in Friday morning, and all of a sudden, they started getting grip. They had to change all the changes they made on Thursday. They had to rechange them on Friday and go back to how they started. Started getting a lot of grip and qualifying up to 168 mile per hour average. That's awfully fast. And happy hour, Biffle ran a lap over 170 miles per hour.
What's also interesting, because nobody has a book to go on here, we saw some new faces at the top of the qualifying list.
And that's always good when you can bring new faces, and we can talk about some new guys. There's Chris Horn out of Iowa. Just going to run 5 races this year, but he comes to the Kentucky Speedway and has a great qualifying run.
Qualified in the number 6 slot, and Brian Reffner will start from the pole. The first time he's been there since 1996. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll set the grid and go racing. The engines have fired. All right. Back to Kentucky. Have fired. We're waiting for the trucks to roll out of the pit lane and start the first of the pace laps here on the inaugural event of this beautiful 1.5-mile facility. And the traffic is still, believe it or not, they're still pouring into this racetrack, Benny Parsons, and the stands are filling up rapidly. Let's take a look at our Mopar starting grid. On the pole, Brian Reffner. As we said, first time since 1996 that he's been on the front row. Greg Biffle will start alongside in row number 2. It'll be Marty Houston. He has matched, that's his best start of the season. Jack Sprague from the number 4 spot. Scott Riggs, that equals his Martinsville qualifying, and we've already talked about Chris Horn. That's a career best for him. And then in row number 4, it'll be Andy Houston and Rick Crawford. And in row number 5, it'll be Rick Corelli, the High Plains drifter, and Terry Cook.
Back in row 6 is Lance Norick. Cracked a couple of ribs a few weeks ago. Seems to be feeling fine now. Randy Tolsma, 2 second-place finishes the last 2 races. In row 7, Joe Ruttman had an engine change after happy hour last night. And Rob Morgan, another great qualifying run. In row 8, B.A. Wilson out of Texas and Jimmy Hensley out of Virginia. In row 9, Mike Wallace and Steve Grissom. Back in row 10, Randy McDonald and Randy Renfro.
As we move into row number 11, take a look. David Starr and Stevie Reeves, the former Busch Series and open wheel competitor, taking over the number 31 Breback Racing Ford. In row 12, Jamie McMurray and Stan Boyd, Boyd from Holly, Michigan. Then in row number 3, Rick Ware. Now he has had back spasms all week long, and he is going to make the race tonight thanks to the help of a local chiropractor, Jay Stewart, alongside. In row 14, it'll be Coy Gibbs and Ricky Sanders from Stockbridge, Georgia. In row 15, it'll It'll be Doug George taking over Carlos Contreras. He cannot start tonight. He needs knee surgery. Ron Barfield will be in the number 30 position. Then take a look. You've said, where's Kurt Busch and Dennis Setzer? Well, Busch is back in row 16 on a provisional. Setzer's in row 17 on a provisional. Setzer spun it in qualifying. Busch did not make the call. They were furiously changing an engine and didn't get it done in time, BP.
Yeah, Busch lost an engine that last practice before qualifying and could not get it changed. Actually, they got it changed, but put too much oil in the reservoir, in the oil tank, and when they fired it up on pit road to go qualify, it burped a little oil out the tank on the racetrack, and NASCAR would not allow him on the track in fear that he would spill oil on the track.
Let's take a look at our onboards. First one up.
Mike Wallace, our Team ASE on board. He starts back in 17th. This is looking out the right door of his Ford F-150. Joe Rutten has the Dana Dodge on the inside of row 7 in 13th spot. This is looking off the back tailgate. And Rick Crawford, the Milwaukee Electric Tools Ford, starts outside the 4th row. And inside that 4th row is Andy Houston in the Cat Rental Stores Chevrolet.
Let's take a look, since this is an inaugural event here at the Kentucky Speedway. Let's take a look at the other inaugural wins by active drivers. Jack Sprague can claim 2 of them back in '96, both Las Vegas and Nazareth. Joe Ruttman won at Orlando in '97, the first time we ran there. Rick Corelli won the first event at Gateway. And then in '99, it was Greg Biffle winning at both Portland and Michigan. And of course, the biggest to date, our first running this year at Daytona, won by Mike Wallace. The trucks are on the pace laps. Let's take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll get this race underway at Kentucky Speedway. 12 of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, the Kroger 225, and we have just completed the required pace laps. We are hoping to go green next time by, although we still see the jet dryer out here on the front straightaway, BP. I don't think they'll start the race with him sitting there.
No, that moving chicane is not going to work too well, so they will make sure, NASCAR officials will make sure that this surface is dry, so when these guys take these trucks down in turn 1, well, the first time probably 70 or 80 miles per hour, but turn 3 they'll probably be running 185. They want to make sure that the surface is completely dry.
If that dryer looks familiar, it's all the way from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Let's get some updates from the pit lane. Amy and Dave.
Just a quick observation so far as the mental attitude of a lot of these drivers. Everyone's saying we like Kentucky Speedway because it's a beautiful facility, but they won't really know as to whether they like or dislike this track until the completion of this race. And I know Benny Parsons will agree that a driver's performance has a lot to do with their mental attitude. So with Greg Biffle, his mental attitude feeling as though he can win this race, he is by far probably the favorite down here so far. Dave Burns.
Amy, this has been an interesting weekend for crew chiefs. On Thursday, they had an optional test day to get used to the Kentucky Speedway, and it was brand new. They were breaking in the asphalt here. Now, crew chief Danny Guilford, Joe Ruttman, says it is becoming a better racetrack as they go along, but they've been both tight and loose over the course of this weekend, so they're not sure exactly what to expect when the race starts. What they're going to do with their truck, they made it what he calls medium adjustable, which means they didn't throw a whole lot into it to make it adjustable, but they are guessing that the track is going to tighten up tonight. If it goes the other way, they're going to be wrong, and that's the kind of calculated guesses that these guys are making at the start of this event with a brand new speedway.
And let's talk a little bit about tires, because it's not going to be an issue tonight, BP.
Oh, no, because Goodyear, with this brand new service and unable to test and make sure that they have the proper tire, brought a tire that they know is going to be very, very safe. They're very hard. It's a tire that would use at a larger racetrack than this, a racetrack that's much faster. So these guys should be able to probably run the entire race on the left sides and maybe just one change on the right.
One driver said it's so hard Fred Flintstone couldn't wear them out if he tried. They're saying that we're going to have 3 more pace laps to allow to get the final drying efforts taken care of. Now let's talk about what's going to be coming up tomorrow. RPM today at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time on ESPN2, and of course RPM tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern, where you get all the day's racing action. And we've got a lot of racing going on this weekend across this country. For more, log on to ESPN.com. NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, the Kroger 225, the inaugural event at the Kentucky Speedway. I'm Marty Reed along with Benny Parsons, Dave Burns, and Amy East down in pit lane. And we are just about ready to go green flag racing after a delay caused by the rain at 6 o'clock. Kurt Busch going to be starting on a provisional for the first time in his young career. Dave Burns is with his crew chief, Matt Chambers.
And that's, Marty, because yesterday they did not get a chance to take a qualifying run. Kurt, what have you told, you are Matt. What have you told your young driver, Kurt Busch, about starting 32nd today so far back?
Kurt's been doing a real good job of being patient at the start of the race, and we're going to do the same thing. We talked about just being calm and patient. Our truck's good enough that we don't need to do anything fancy to make it to the front, so that's all we're going to do.
Did Happy Hour and the speeds he ran there give him confidence about starting so far back?
Yeah, we ran real good in Happy Hour, and he's real confident about the truck. We just need to keep the fenders on it and pass everybody on the outside and go to the front and see if we can give Biffle a run for his money.
And they could do it, guys. Remember, earlier this year, they started way in the back of the pack at Daytona and had an excellent finish.
Well, as the guys continue on the final pace lap, the fans on their feet, and they saw a wonderful race last night, the Slim Jim All-Pro Series. Let's show you the results. We've got just enough time. Billy Bigley Jr. ended up getting the victory. Wayne Anderson crossed the line first, but he had an unapproved manifold part, and that's a no-no in NASCAR racing. Take a look down the number 10 spot. Tina Gordon, she has been finishing, I think that's her third straight top 10 finish in Slim Jim All-Pro action, and she's doing very well for herself.
So Tina was up as far as second place last night, and talking about some of the laps that she ran, just almost as fast as the leader within a tenth of a second. And Casey Unick, isn't that Smokey's nephew?
I think that's the relationship. Lights out on the pace truck on the backstretch, and this time by we're going to go green here at Kentucky Speedway. Believe it or not, the fans are still filing into this beautiful 69,000 seat facility as the rain over 2 inches last night, another shower at 6 o'clock Eastern time. That's why we've been held up a little over 30 minutes, but now it looks like we're finally going to get to go racing. It's been a long wait for the fans of Kentucky and Indiana and the southeastern portion of that state and southwestern Ohio.
And Tolsma is on the apron of the racetrack. As the trucks come down off turn 4 for the green flag, Tolsma is on the apron following the pace car down pit road.
So Randy Tolsma's heading for pit lane. Meanwhile, the pole sitter Brian Reffner brings him down, and round 12 of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is green. Coming through turn 3 and 4, Reffner pushes Biffle high. They come out okay, unscathed. Who's going to lead the inaugural lap? It's going to be a pole sitter, Brian Reffner.
But just barely now on the inside is Marty Houston, and they're 3 wide for just a second as Biffle takes the lead.
So it's now Biffle, Reffner, there's Sprague, and the 75. And look at the front of your screen there. That is Randy Tolsma trying to keep from going 1 lap down. He's 36th in this field. He better get on his horse. Amy, what's the story on Randy Tolsma? Oh, crash in turn number 3. We've got contact in turn number 3 and trucks going all over the racetrack.
Looks like Chris Horn, the red truck down on the inside.
That is Chris Horn. The 58 is torn up on the left side. Looking to see who else was involved. One more truck down on the infant. There it is, the 30. That is Jay Edwards. Or Jay Stewart, pardon me.
Yes, Jay Stewart.
Oh, no. And the 88 is also involved, Terry Cook, in the pickuptruck.com Chevrolet, and that one's not going anywhere without a flatbed.
No, we see Terry taking his helmet off and climbing out, well, taking his radio connection off, climbing off the truck, crawling out of the truck to see just how much damage there is. But Terry, you don't need to look. I'll tell you, there's a lot of damage.
He can't buy a break. Last week at Texas, he got swept up in another accident. Was not of his making. And his crew just wondering what snake has bitten us.
And I think Phil Bonneville might Well, I guess that's the 30 truck of Jay Stewart that I'm seeing down there. Yes.
Yeah, that's the Nabisco Ritz Chips Ahoy Oreos. He's got lots of cookies in that pit. And right now he needs about a radiator and a few fenders. Let's take a look and see what happened, BP.
Well, they're going in the corner. This is the leaders. Big break for Randy Tolsma. He will get that lap back. And somewhere about right there we see some contact between Terry Cook and another truck. I'm not sure exactly who that was. And Chris Horn, I don't think anywhere to go.
Yeah, it was Terry that got loose. Now I wonder if there was.
And there's a 28 of Ron Barfield making a 360-degree spin.
Randy Tolsma is back into pit lane. Amy, you were getting ready to give us an update on what brought him in the first time.
Yeah, speaking of another team that can't catch a break, Randy Tolsma radioed into the crew immediately and said there's a vibration in the steering wheel. So instantly they started asking each other around and found out nobody torqued the left side lug nut. That's something you want to make sure is done, especially at a fast 1.5-mile super speedway. Now they decided to come down pit lane and go ahead and change the right sides just to make sure that they are on tight as well.
But, you know, you got to give a lot of credit. Now, again, the guy should have tightened the lug nuts, but at least he fessed up and said, guys, I didn't tighten the lug nuts. Let's bring the truck back in and make sure they are tight.
All right, let's go back and take another look at what happened in turn number 3. I don't know if the air got taken off the spoiler on the 88, but there he is right on the middle of your screen.
He goes in the corner, and there's that patch going in turn 3. He just loses the back end, goes up, makes contact with Scott Riggs. Riggs, what a fabulous job he does, but he makes contact with Chris Horn, and there's nothing Horn can do. And Tolsma goes by on the outside. And there we see the other trucks coming in. The Jay Stewart truck, and I think also Coy Gibbs made some contact with Jay Stewart.
Andy Gensman also got around sideways, but did not make any solid contact with the wall. Let's take one more look, different angle.
There we see them. And look at Scott Riggs. Look at that job he's doing.
Whoa, did Riggs keep it off the wall? Yes, he just kept the 86.
There we see Stewart. There's Coy Gibbs in the green MB&A truck.
Dave, what's going on with the Royal Crown Dodge?
They're checking it out. They're looking inside the front wheel wells and the rear wheel wells. He's got a big tire mark on the left-hand side, and now they're going to go over and change right side tires. So they took a quick look underneath and decided that he better put tires on. Don't know if it's from damage or if they can tell if those tires might be down, one or the other. And Scott may have radioed in that he was a bit loose after all that. So they put on the right side tires, and they're going to send him, and they're going to change all 4. And I guess, guys, this is where the 4 tire under yellow does come into play. When a truck is spinning out there and they flat spot him, they do have the option to go back to NASCAR and say, we need more tires. Maybe you can follow that a little further.
Well, now the NASCAR official is looking at the tires. He has to go around and confirm that tire change. He has to confirm that the tires are in fact flat spotted. There you see them. They have the tires back over there, and there the crewman is showing him where it's flat spotted.
So we'll wait to see what the final judgment is on the 86. It would be a tough break, and it's a long walk back for Terry Cook. Stay with us. And that's going to be all next weekend. As on Saturday, we'll have the Bully Hill Vineyards 150 on ESPN at 1:30 Eastern time from Watkins Glen. And then Sunday, the Busch Series Lysol 200 at noon Eastern. All Saturday and Sunday next weekend on ESPN. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of Go Network, go.com. Now there is the 86, and Dave, what's the update on the tires? Was it an approved change?
Fortunately for them, Marty, yes, it was an approved change. These are the 2 front tires from Scott Riggs' truck, the left front and the right front. Now, the right front, you got to go a long way before you find the damage that they were talking about. Somewhere in here, perhaps around the back. We can't spin it right around. Now, the tough part about it was, this is a brand new team, and Charlie Long told right front tire changer Kenny Majors to go around to the right side and check that tire. Was it flat spotted? Will we get it approved if we get this call for us? And Kenny Majors nodded his head and said, yeah, it's flat spotted. So that was a real gutsy call for a new team and for one of the late model guys that Scott Riggs brought with him, front tire changer Kenny Majors.
Well, Riggs has 4 top 10 finishes in 5 starts this year. This is only his 8th career start in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Stay with us. We hope to go back to green flag racing when we come back to Kentucky Speedway. 225, the inaugural race at the Kentucky Speedway. You're looking at our race leader, Greg Biffle. There is Brian Reffner, currently running in 2nd position. Jimmy Hensley, another veteran, running in 9th right now. And these two started out the season with new teams, proven winning equipment, and veteran expectations. We talked to them about the challenges.
We're building what I want to call the perfect team.
I think our team's really coming around right now.
And I want these people that are going to be dedicated to myself and Les and winning.
You know, they having fun, we're having fun. We just want to be running a little bit better right now.
Every time we make a change, it's always for the better, but a lot of times we run out of time.
Well, any deal is just trying to get to running as good as you can run, you know, as quick as possible, you know. We had good people. It's just a thing of working with the people and trying to communicate with them as to what I like your truck to do and stuff like that. And that's the hardest thing with a new team.
My first year in the truck series I thought was a success, and stumbled ever since. And I knew me and Les had the chemistry to make success, you know, and I wanted that. I wanted to have that bond that with a crew chief that, you know, I'm never gonna worry about his ability. He's never gonna worry about my ability. That's where a lot of trouble starts is, you know, crew chief, driver starts talking bad about the other, and it trickles right on down, and the team's history before it gets started.
But our situation was that we didn't have any of the truck stuff. We just bought everything, just moved it into a building, and was trying to put stuff up on shelves and get it out of the middle of the floor, and trying to get a truck ready to go to Daytona and test and stuff like that. So it was kind of hard on the guys that were working there. They worked some long hours, and that was the worst part, I think, just trying to get everything sorted out to see what we had and what we need to do.
Well, we learned a lot, you know, you always do as far as when you see somebody else. It's like working with people, bringing new people in. Well, if you bring somebody else's good equipment in, you look and see how they did things, and, you know, we learned. And it's just like adding to your book. You learn more things as you go, and that's the only way you can succeed in this business, to have good people and good equipment. That's the way we want to start this year out.
With the majority of the building process complete, the focus now turns to accomplishing what these teams set out to do, be competitive in the tough NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
More top 10s, more top 5s, get in the winner's circle is my goal, and I'm assuming, you know, I'm sure that's the team goal right now too. You know, we've had some good runs up to this point. We just want to have more of them. The more you have, the more chances are you're going to win. So that's what we're looking for.
We don't want to be a one-hit wonder. We don't want to go to one racetrack, win a race, and never win another one. We want to go consistently win races, and that takes teamwork. You know, I can't do it, Les can't do it. We've got to have people around us that want to stay there and keep building this program too.
Looking now, knowing what you know about the equipment, your team, where do you think you have your best chances to win here in the second half?
Well, I always look at Indy. I've always ran well at Indy. You know, any of the new tracks, it's kind of new to everybody. I would say we'd have as good a shot as anybody. You know, just nobody knowing the track, you know, that well. So hopefully my experience would take over there and give me a little extra edge, maybe.
I go at every race thinking we're going to be as strong as anybody, but I think the days that we have a practice session beforehand is where we'll really shine.
And we're just about ready to go back to green flag racing with Reffner in second and Jimmy Hensley in the number 9 slot. Biffle gets us restarted here on lap number 12.
Mike Wallace, the 2 truck, driving up on the outside of Corelli, taking away a spot.
You know, with all this early lap excitement, we need to let you know that Kurt Busch has moved from 32nd up to 20th already. That's one truck. There you saw the number 90 as well. Lance Norrick has moved up to the 7th spot.
And Corelli now getting a challenge from Jimmy Hensley in the 16 truck that we talked about. And a battle for the lead. Brian Reffner goes to the lead in turn 1.
So Reffner takes the top spot from Biffle. There's Marty Houston right on Biffle's bumper.
Oh, Biffle's loose. Oh, the 75 truck pulled up behind him, got him loose. He chased the truck up the hill. He loses second. He loses third. and now is about to lose fourth.
Andy Houston, Jack Sprague both get under Biffle. All of a sudden, that's how quickly the positions have changed here at Kentucky Speedway. Let's take a look at our Lucas Oil telemetry on board with Andy Houston.
And we saw 180 miles per hour down in turn 1. We see just a little bit of brake as he goes through the corner. That's Mike Wallace that we see behind Greg Biffle.
Now looking out the front of the Cat Rental Chevy, that is Jack Sprague right in front of Andy Houston.
And watch the RPM. We'll see what kind of RPM this time that Houston will turn. 84, 5, 6, 7, 8,800 RPMs. Right down next to that white line. Now right behind him, Biffle is closed up once again on the back bumper of the 60 Cat Rental Chevrolet.
Coming out of turn number 4, it'll be Refner up front. There is Kurt Busch. He is making his way up the track.
Trying to go by Joe Rutland. Battle for the 10th position already.
Yeah, he's gotten into the top 10 just that quickly.
And watch as he gets by, Rutland just pulls away from him.
Tell you what, this young man has impressed everyone. And here's going to be his biggest challenge, starting on the provisional for the first time, and already has made it up to the 10th position.
And Marty Houston closing in on the 3 truck of Brian Refner.
There you see Jimmy Hensley, Corelli. There is Lance Norrick, and he is in the clutches of Kurt Busch. Let's get an update on the 90, Dave.
Lance Norrick back in the truck for the full race for the first time in about 3 races. And remember, he broke his left wrist earlier this year in a practice crash at Memphis. He's doing well so far, according to the crew, and he had to dirt track it around that first incident of the night. And even after that, he did not have any problems with the left wrist. So as Lance Norrick continues to cycle around here, so far, the wrist is holding up just fine.
Yeah, it's the left wrist, and he's got 13 screws and a titanium plate in there, and he's out there running in the 10th position right now. Joe Rutman right behind him. And look at this. There is Jack Sprague taking second away from Houston, and here comes Andy underneath brother Marty. This is going to get interesting. Andy's going to take a run at Sprague for second.
Well, Marty Houston and Jack Sprague got delayed just a little bit. Both of them had to get off the throttle off the corner, which allowed Andy Houston to drive up into second and allowed Biffle to come up on the inside of Jack Sprague.
And there is Biffle side by side with Sprague. That's first and second in the points. On board with Andy Houston. You know, Houston's average finish on the super speedways 6.3 in 2000. It ranks second only to Greg Biffle.
That is a great battle back for the 3rd position. Mike Wallace looking on the inside of Biffle.
You can hear Max Jones talking to his driver, telling him he is inside of you. Let's go on board with Mike Wallace. Wallace currently running in the 6th position. See that little bump sometimes when we go through turn number 4. That'll be at the end of this long straightaway, and you wonder if we'll be able to see it from this perspective. Here we go.
There's the bump.
Right there.
That seems to be where Terry Cook had his problem when he got his truck loose going in turn 3 earlier in the race.
Meanwhile, Brian Refner continues to run up front in control here at the Kroger 225. Stay with us. We'll be right back. 25, you're looking at our race leader, Brian Refner. in the Johns Manville Chevrolet. He has about a 0.6 of a second lead over second place, Andy Houston. There's the gap. Jack Sprague running in third, Greg Biffle in fourth. And nobody's cutting in on that lead right now, Benny, and these three have basically stayed nose to tail. They can't run him down.
And watching our scoring monitor for the last few laps, Brian Refner, when he has clean racetrack and no traffic in his way, is faster than the three trucks we see running behind him. And there we see the 9 truck of Ricky Sanders slowing these other vehicles down, talking about Andy Houston, Jack Sprague, Greg Biffle.
While all this is going on, get ready to catch Kurt Busch. He's going to be coming up to play here pretty soon. He is running in 7th right now, and he is running a lap time of about 32.8 in traffic.
Now we see Refner this time going the corner on the outside of Ron Barfield. We see the damage Barfield has on the rear of his truck from that earlier incident.
You know, you talk about Refner. His first 2 races, his average finish was like 32nd. In his last 9 races, his average has been 8th. He's got 8 straight top 10s, cracked the top 5 last time out. This team is on a roll.
All started at Memphis, the race we did on the Saturday before Mother's Day. The truck was really, really good. I think that changing tires at the proper time, Refner might have had a chance to win that race.
There's Mike Wallace, currently running in the 6th position. A little bit further back is Kurt Busch, trying to reel Wallace in. Now on board, there he is. There's the gap as we look out the back of the Team ASE Ford. And notice the 125th race decal. Team ASE has been the longest primary sponsor in the series. This is their 125th race. Congratulations to Team ASE. Now it's 2 trucks behind is the 99. That's lap payable in between Mike Wallace and Kurt Busch. Let's get an update on Mike Wallace's truck. A lousy qualifying, but Amy East, he's on the move.
Well, it's almost kind of what we saw out of Mike Wallace last year. We expected him to qualify back because he's just not a qualifier, and then he would race his way to the front, and his pit stops would also put him in a position to win each race. Again, they did not get the qualifying run they expected. We wondered, is this the old Mike Wallace that's back? Because he's been qualifying great all year. They just said, well, you know, we just missed the qualifying setup, but very confident about their race setup as he's running 6th right now and proving that.
Well, if you're just tuning in, welcome to round 12 of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Brian Refner is your race leader. I'm Marty Reed, along with Benny Parsons. In pit lane, it's Amy East and Dave Burns. You're riding on board with Mike Wallace, who's currently running in 6th position. We'll drift back to Kurt Busch, and Kurt Busch is closing.
Yes, he is. He's getting closer and closer to Mike Wallace after starting way back in the 32nd position.
Well, you know, one of the notes I remember pulling up now, thanks to Ben, was he started 34th back at Daytona, managed to come back and finish 2nd there. So this will be another test of his young talent. And so far, he's doing very well. That's Andy Gensman, who's a lap down. Andy was involved in our first lap incident. Didn't have severe damage, but it spun him around. 3 trucks were taken out in that crash, including Chris Horn, who had qualified 6th, the 88 of Terry Cook, and also the 30 of Jay Stewart.
As we watch Kurt Busch seem to get closer and closer to Joe Rutten, his teammate Greg Biffle right now seems to be struggling around the racetrack.
Well, we've got to take a break. Stay with us. The man up front is Brian Refner by 1.4 seconds over Andy Houston here at the Kroger 225. Kentucky Speedway, you're looking at our race leader, Brian Refner. He has put positions 21 on back down a lap. That's Rick Ware. He's driving with a bad back in the Dunlap machine, and he is hanging on all he can. Had a lot of chiropractic help, but he now finds himself 2 laps off the pace.
Rick Ware's driving the Dunlop car. Dunlap is the ESPN pit reporter, and Dunlop is the golf.
I thought I said Dunlop. I apologize if I mispronounced it by mistake.
You were trying to
appreciate
Dunlap
that.
in the show.
Well, we could use Ray. You know, Ray's a good guy. Let's take a look at the line. Show you how quickly that Brian Refner is flying around this 1.5-mile oval. 166.8. And you see that Kurt Busch is the 2nd quickest at 165.6.
So no one else in 165-mile-per-hour range except the leader, Brian Refner, in the Menards, John Mansfield. Wow. Now, Amy talked to him about his pit stops. Lesson these guys, they have a great race truck. Now, we've got to find out if they've got the pit crew that can keep it up in contention.
Well, we had quite a bit of caution under that first yellow. In fact, 9 laps, so that's going to extend the fuel window. Some of the teams were saying they may be able to push 70 laps here because of the gear and also the lack of banking. They're not quite as fast as they were at Texas. Let's get more on the number 3 truck, Amy East.
You're right, Benny. It's now up to the pit crew because this team has done everything to try to get to victory lane. What Team Menard has done is taken the Pikes Peak truck, which is what he's running here. They went to the wind tunnel, and what they learned there was that they basically needed to cut off the front fenders. As we have a crash now on the track, we'll throw it back up top.
Thanks, Amy. It's Stevie Reeves in the curb records for the Bob Brevac, Shelley Brevac Ford. The first time he's been in that truck. In fact, he just came into it this week, and it looked like he got it turned around, backed it into the wall. Some heavy damage to the rear of the 31 Ford.
And we see him bringing the truck into the pit crew. He'll take a look.
Stevie won the 92 and 93 USAC midget titles, and also won the pole in a Busch race back at Bristol in 95. His best finish was there in a 6th place run, and has recently left the Busch series and is looking for the right combination. Things were going well until just a few moments ago. He had gotten the truck up to about 19th position. Here's the tail end of it.
Yeah, we didn't see exactly what happened. I looked up about this time and saw Stevie up against the wall and down on the inside. So what might have started this, I don't really have any idea.
So we're under our 2nd caution of the day, and again, this will stretch the fuel economy for some of the trucks. Tires not going to be an issue. We've already talked about. We've completed 41 laps, and some of the guys are saying they'll change right sides once only. The lefts will definitely be able to go the distance. So this will be our 10th lap. Pit lane is closed. Danny
well,
Briggs.
there's some confusion right now. The pace car, the field is going in turn 3. The pace car is going out in turn 1. I guess he's going to go down and just simply stop and wait for the field to come by, because before pit road will open, these cars are going to have to catch the pace truck. These trucks will have to catch the pace truck. Now, I would think that some of these guys, a lot of these guys, will be thinking about pitting.
Well, we'll find out. We'll take a commercial break, come back, and find out if Brian Refner and anybody else will bring it in to pit lane here at the Kroger 225.
On 2 right side tires, tape on the front to loosen him up coming off the corner. Amy East.
This is their chance to get Brian Refner out front. They've done everything to make that truck fast. Now they have to perform in the pits. Greg Biffle is also taking on right side tires. A little tape off the front and a spring rubber in the right rear. Menards has done it. They got Brian Refner out first. Stellar pit stop for the 3 truck.
Jack Sprague's going to pick up 2nd as a result of quick pit stops. Greg Biffle will be 3rd. Andy Houston will drop back to 4th. Kurt Busch picks up a spot from 6th to 5th. Marty Houston, the big loser here, he goes back to 6th. Dave, Dennis Setzer's in.
Earlier in the race, Marty, they were about to get lapped when that caution came out. Big break for Setzer. They had a vibration. I asked Howard Comstock if he knew if it was motor. He said he did not know. Now they've been under the hood, and I can't tell exactly what they've done. The truck sounds solid leaving, and they changed tires on Setzer as well. So hopefully they fix some of those problems.
Yeah, he came in 20th position, and so he's going to have still a long road to go. In fact, Setzer started back in 33rd position, has not had the success that Kurt Busch had.
No. And that's surprising, because you really feel like that, this Mopar number 1, one of the better trucks on the circuit.
There is Brian Refner trying to get some heat into those tires. We've got a lot more racing coming up on ESPN2 and ABC. Tomorrow, Pikes Peak coverage. Indy Racing today at 11 a.m. Eastern time over on ESPN2. And then it's the Indy Racing Northern Lights Series, the Pikes Peak Indy 200, as ABC Sports goes racing in the Rockies with Buddy Lazier, Greg Ray, Al Unser Jr. That's all tomorrow, 4 o'clock Eastern on ABC Sports.
Well, Brian Refner's crew did the job. My hat's off to them. I applaud them, because when you pit with the lead on the line and Sprague and Biffle and all those guys making pit stops to come out in front, it's a job well done.
Take a look at the pit summary, and you can see that Sprague picked up a spot. So did Biffle. Houston dropped 2. Kurt picked up 1. So that's the top 5 in the running order. In 6th spot, it is Marty Houston right now. Round out the top 10 for you. Mike Wallace in 7th. Joe Ruttman in 8th. Jimmy Hensley has made it to the 9th position again. And Rick Corelli is now in the number 10 spot.
Rick Corelli, on Friday during practice, I was really shocked to see who was here helping him. Todd Berry, Kevin Harvick's crew chief in the NASCAR Busch Series, the AC Delco Chevrolet, was here helping Corelli. And I said, what are you doing? He said, he's my friend. He needed some help. I thought I'd come help him. Dave Burns.
Well, and Benny, Todd Barrier had trouble getting back to Myrtle Beach. He had to stay overnight at the Cincinnati airport because of the thunderstorms last night. He finally got out and over to Myrtle Beach today, having to go through Washington National. It was a long week for Todd Barrier.
Ah, yes, the wonders of travel. Well, we're traveling again here at Kentucky Speedway as we start on lap 46. And look at Sprague trying to go underneath Refner. And he's got him.
Well, here comes Refner back on the outside. A little almost contact. Sprague now back on the inside. This is for the lead.
Got a drag race down the backstretch.
And Sprague is one of those 5 bonus points. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series just like this Winston Cup. Bonus. Oh! And Biffle almost lost it, and his teammate Kurt Busch on the outside for second.
Busch has got a rocket ship in the Exide Ford. He has taken over the 2nd spot. Here comes Houston right behind Busch. Then there's Mike Wallace. 5 trucks. Now 6 with Marty Houston in the mix. Whoa, Andy gets loose. Makes a nice save. Loses about 3-4 spots.
And Kurt Busch will take that 2nd place as Biffle falls in behind him.
Kurt Busch, then Greg Biffle. Then it's Sprague. That's 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. They're all trying to track down our race leader, Brian Refner. Can you believe this? Busch starts 32nd. He's up to 2nd, and we've only run 48 laps. Let's go back, take a look at what happened to Biffle.
Comes off the corner and just gets loose as he comes off, and Busch, while Biffle's trying to gain control, just drives up on the outside.
Look at that. They were thinking about going 3 or 4 abreast there for a second. Now, back to the real-time action. You're on board with Mike Wallace. Wallace got a little high. This is the battle for the race lead. Kurt Busch has reeled in. In fact, he ran 0.4 of a second quicker that last lap on our race leader, Brian Refner, and now he's right on his back bumper.
Warning him that there's a slower car on the inside, and Busch is running an entirely different line than any other truck I've seen. He comes off the corner a lot wider. And it's unbelievable that a young man like that can find the fast way where his truck wants to run around the race, but find that fast groove. There's a slow car that the spotter was warning them about.
And you're right, Benny. He does like a little bit higher line.
And right now, these 3 trucks seem to be putting some distance on Jack Sprague.
That was Rick Ware that they got around.
Watch Busch as he comes off the corner and really lets that Exide truck wander out right against the wall.
Well, one of the things the guys were saying was 70 feet of track here in the width, and you can really let it run free. And here we go, underneath now, the Exide Ford. Busch trying to make a bid for the lead. Oh, he's turned it around. Can he save it? Hold on, Kurt. He's lighting up the tires, trying to keep it off the wall, and he does.
Whoa, my goodness. And the caution flag, he got blessed that he saved that truck, and now he gets a caution flag. Kurt Busch, you are living right.
Whew. What a save. His heart's got to be pounding, and his eyes have got to be pretty big right now.
And I don't think he's going to drive in on the inside of these guys so hard the next time.
There's Matt Chambers. Nothing rattles Matt. That's the look of a man who's been through this a few times. We saw this back at Phoenix with Kurt, where he made great saves when they got a little bit loose. Somebody took the air off of the rear spoiler, and so we are under our 3rd caution. We'll go back, take another look, Benny.
Going down in turn one, he gets on the inside of the 3 truck. Now he's not able to let that truck go up the racetrack the way he has. Biffle right behind him. He gets the truck loose. He nails the gas, keeps the thing pulling so it doesn't slam in the wall. He's still got those rear wheels pulling, and he goes up, stops it, and does not hit the wall. What a job.
So Kurt Busch manages to keep it off the wall. And you notice he has a new sponsor on that rear quarter deck panel. In fact, it's Tractor Supply Company. They're an associate now for 5 races. In fact, 300 outlets nationwide. They're talking to this company about possibly taking Exide's place next year as the primary.
Be a good thing.
Well, they just got their money's worth watching that little maneuver.
Man.
He didn't bend up the decal.
Unbelievably, he didn't.
So we're under our 3rd caution right now, and it looks like some drivers are going to take some tires. In fact, Sprague is going to duck off. Refner stays out. Sprague in 3rd position is going to lead a group of drivers who are going to get some fresh tires, including Kurt Busch. Let's go to Dave Burns.
Marty, they're going to do the same thing that the 86 did earlier, towed on 4 tires and convince NASCAR that they flat spotted them so they can get replacements for them. They've been discussing it, and Kurt Busch lost on the arrow. That's what he said. Amy East.
Jack Sprague decided to come down because he has such a tight truck, although the left side will tighten up that condition a little bit more. They decided that it was more important to get 2 rounds out and try to help him, because when he took on right sides, the truck was more tight than when he came in the first time. They're trying to free up that truck a little bit.
Kurt Busch, well, I tell you what, he is climbing the mountain over and over again. We saw him start back in 32nd, the provisional, work his way, battling for the lead. Now he changes 4 tires after that near spin, or that spin, and now he starts back again. What's Sprague trying to get in the pits? And I don't know that Ryan McGlynn didn't want to go in the pits. I thought he was going to have to make a pit stop because Sprague was going to lead him down there.
Well, he would have been penalized. He's a lap vehicle, so he had to stay out there. So poor Ryan probably saying, wait a minute, Jack, I'll let you in. Just give me a turn signal or something there, buddy. Stay with us. We got to take a commercial break. Brian Refner is still your race leader at the Kroger 225, and Kurt Busch is still in the race. 3rd caution on lap number 55, and Brian Refner is your race leader. Greg Biffle in 2nd. Marty Houston in 3rd. Brother Andy has moved into 4th.
Jack Sprague came out of the pits in 13th. Kurt Busch came out 19th after that 4-tire change.
That was Andy Houston and Cat Reynolds Chevy. I'll tell you, Brian Refner so far has not made one misstep. He has led now 45 of the 55 laps. Take a look at the battle for 5th going on out there. That's Rick Corelli and Jimmy Hensley. Because of the pit stops, we're seeing some new faces towards the top 10, BP.
Yes, we are. And there we see the 41 car. Randy Renfro is a lap down, and Renfro just can't keep that Dodge truck on the bottom of the racetrack. Rick Crawford, the Milwaukee Electric Tools, I'll say it in a minute, goes by Jimmy Hensley, and that is a battle for position. Moves Crawford up into 7th. Ooh, pretty good break because we see the truck on the inside.
I'll tell you, another guy who moved up is Lance Norrick. He got around as well. He's in 6th position, right up in front of Rick Crawford.
Oh, Renfro trying to get on the drive down on the inside. Can't quite make it.
Look at this crowd. We go zipping by here at Kentucky Speedway. The place holds 69,000, and there aren't too many empty seats. There you see the battle. The 90 is Lance Norrick. Remember, he's driving with that fractured left wrist, 13 pins, a titanium plate. This is the first race he's gone, will go the distance since the crash.
And now Renfro comes back on the outside of, but he can't keep it on the bottom of the racetrack as Crawford goes by.
There's Rob Morgan and Randy Tolsma also in this mix. We're on board with Joe Rudman looking out the back. There's Tolsma on the bottom of the racetrack. Remember, he was dead last in this field at the first lap because he had to pit and tighten some lug nuts.
Well, Joe Rudman has had a decent weekend, but he's had radio problems today. He can hear the crew. And we've got Ryan McGlynn around on the track. Trouble for him. The trouble for Ruttman, radio communication. They're having to use hand signals and old-fashioned wiggle the truck if you're loose when you come by the start-finish line. That kind of communication. But that's okay. Hey, Joe raced when they didn't have radios.
Our fourth caution of the evening for Ryan McGlynn. Boy, he took a terrible crash back at Monroe. This one's not nearly as bad, but it looks like it's going to be enough to put him in the trailer.
I saw a sponsor on the quarter panel, JRJ Paving or something. I sure hope that they will help Ryan McGlynn, because this young man works awfully hard to come each and every NASCAR Craftsman Truck race. There we see the 00 of McGlynn going down in turn 1 as Crawford goes by on the outside. McGlynn takes it down, and Crawford comes down and really squeezes down on Ryan McGlynn. They make contact, and Crawford almost lost it, but McGlynn, trying to avoid crashing Rick Crawford, puts himself in the outside retaining wall.
Well, hopefully the damage won't be too bad. Here's the tail end of it. He hit the quarter panel pretty hard. But remember, they put some more reinforcing bars in that corner of the truck. McGlynn has made it back to pit lane. Crew is inspecting the damage and see if they will be able to get him back out. He'll definitely lose at least one lap as the pace truck is coming by right now. And here comes race leader Brian Reffner. So now those trucks that stayed out last time are coming in this time. 45 miles an hour pit lane speed. Corelli the first to his pit box. Here come the others. There's Marty Houston. Let's go to Amy East.
Well, we haven't talked a lot about Marty Houston, but he's been running really well. They decided to come down and get left side tires and fuel, as now it looks like Randy Tolsma is also going to come down. Now remember, they are on the lead lap after their misfortunes earlier in this race. They're going to take on right side tires, make sure those lug nuts are tight, and try to get him out of here.
Amy, check with the 75 crew. The catch can man was waving furiously. I'm wondering if they got a full load of fuel in or not, but he was waving furiously right before Marty Houston pulled back out. There's Doug George in the Hot Wheels Dodge. Now there is Greg Biffle. He was the first one back out, but Lance Norick is your race leader because he stayed out on the racetrack. Stay with us. Kentucky Speedway, Jerry Carroll, look at the crowd. You can be proud of what you have built here over the last 18 months. What an incredible facility this has turned out to be. And we're back to green flag racing in the Kroger 225. Ron Barfield real slow on the bottom of the racetrack. He gets out of everybody's way. Lance Norick is your race leader. Mike Wallace, Joe Ruttman, Steve Grissom, Rob Morgan, David Starr. They all stayed out. That's your top six.
It was Steve Grissom and Kurt Busch almost made contact going down in turn 1. There's Coy Gibbs, the MBNA truck. And there's Mike Wallace and Lance Norick.
What a boost this has got to be for Lance Norick. Remember, I mean, this guy has got 13 pins in his arm and a titanium plate. And it's his left wrist, so it's hard to turn that truck to the left. But boy, here he is. He has been running in the top 10 to 15. Now he's at the front of the pack. He is our third different leader, and he's led 4 laps so far. And boy, he's got Mike Wallace all over him.
Joe Ruttman, the next truck back in line, and you're right. Wallace is right on that tailgate.
There is a good look at Joe Ruttman. He's glad to have Danny Gill back. Battle for the lead. There goes Wallace underneath the number 90. And Norick has to go a little bit high. Wallace wiggles just a touch. Takes over the top spot. Make him our 4th different leader. Looking a little bit further back, Ruttman, David Starr has moved into 4th. There you see Starr, and Kurt Busch is also moving back into play here. Remember, he did not pit this last time. So the cycle continues. There is Greg Biffle.
And now we see Brian Reffner, the 3 truck, caught in some traffic. He's on the inside of Coy Gibbs, trying to work his way back to the front. There's the Houston boys, Marty in the blue and white 75. Jimmy Hinckley's out there as well. And look at Reffner come up on the inside of Houston.
The 3 truck is on a rail. Brian Reffner, this is the furthest back he's been through this pit stop cycle. He gets around. Andy, look at this. He slides nice and high. Coming on the high side, there is Jimmy Hensley, the two new teams we just profiled. And Hensley gets passed by both Refner and Andy Houston. So that's going to move them into Refner now 12th, Hensley 13th, on board with Andy Houston, who is in 14th.
Our cat run longboard cameras. He says, now how can I follow? I have a Chevrolet. He has a Chevrolet. I got to be able to follow that guy. And we can see him close in as Brian Refner had to back off because Marty Houston came down. Now, Refner once again trying on the inside of Marty Houston in the Spears Chevrolet.
Brian Refner may be looking forward to going to Dover and Chicago. Those are our last two inaugural events this coming year on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. He is lighting this track up. Look at this. He just blew the 75 of Marty Houston away. This is Dennis Setzer in the Mopar Dodge. This will be for 10th if he can get underneath him, and he makes it look easy.
It was easy. Watch as he comes off the corner and lets that truck drift up high.
There's Kurt Busch going around. David Starr, that is for 4th. Starr, this is the highest he's had John Conley's truck in a long time, and he's sandwiched right now between Busch and Sprague. Let's get an update on Kurt Busch. Dave?
Marty, after that spin, Kurt Busch was having a lot of chatter with his crew. He said there was no way that this truck will run out front. It was so pushy, there's no way I could drive it. So they have a real problem there when he's out by himself, but when he's running with other trucks, he really loves it. Now, they've been trying to calm him down and tell him that he can go to the front, albeit carefully, and that's what they're trying to get him to do now. But Kurt was asking him, what do I do when I get to the front? The truck is that tough to drive when he's out in clean air.
Wow, that's a bizarre problem. Usually it's the other way around. It's a mess in traffic. Look at this. Greg Biffle going under Dave Starr. Starr can't get to the bottom of the racetrack. Rob Morgan's going to come along, and here comes Brian Refner.
But David Starr in Conley's truck hanging tough on the outside.
John Conley builds his own motors, builds the truck basically every time that they work on it. They have worked this entire operation from start to finish. David Starr giving it a good ride, but right now he's got all his hands full with Brian Refner. And Refner, just like he's done to everybody else, is slicing and dicing.
If I was David Starr, I would not be very disappointed that Brian Refner drove by, because like you said, he's driven by everyone he's run across so far.
Refner is up to 7th now. There is Mike Wallace. Wallace currently a race leader. And Lance Norrick and Joe Ruttman trying to duke it out for the 2nd spot, and Ruttman has taken it away from him. Stay with us when we come back. We're approaching the halfway point of the Kroger 225. Past the halfway mark, and if you can see, there are raindrops, and these guys are hustling. Brian Refner has gotten around Greg Biffle. This is a battle for 5th on the racetrack. Mike Wallace is your current race leader. Biffle's coming back out on the outside. So at the stripe, Biffle's 4th, Refner is 5th. There is Mike Wallace, the race leader. Boy, if it rains right now, Mike Wallace may be the one who is in the catbird seat. Take a look at the windshield.
Right now, I don't see any raindrops. I don't see any raindrops.
Yeah, there's a
maybe there are some raindrops. Maybe that is rain that I'm seeing. I thought it was bugs, but it could be rain. As it comes down to the line, completes yet another lap. Going by the Stewart automobile, the Nabisco car.
Started 17th. Right now, he has made it to a 1.5-second lead. This is the battle for 3rd. Busch, Biffle, Refner. Coming down the backstretch.
Biffle look on the inside. We saw Joe Ruttman, the 2nd place truck, the blue truck, go by.
They've got Jay Stewart to work their way around. Everybody goes high, makes the pass cleanly.
I did see some raindrops that time, and we do have a yellow flag.
The yellow is out, and it is for rain. So Mike Wallace is the man at the front of this pack. That is Brian Refner's pit. And they are probably, maybe, second-guessing themselves, BP.
Well, for pitting, that's, you know.
He pitted back at lap number 60. And that's always the toughest decision to make. I mean, if you looked around, it did not look very threatening compared to what it was at 6 o'clock Eastern time tonight. But all of a sudden, we have got a lot of rain starting to come into the racetrack vicinity, and it is going to put us, yeah, there you can see it in the camera shot, and it is really starting to come down.
Oh, we can see some serious rain right now. Yes, we can. Oh, man, that's too bad. A great facility, a beautiful facility here at Kentucky Speedway. And we had a lot of rain over the weekend that has made the parking lots very difficult here. And we can see the rain now has slowed the race down.
Waiting for NASCAR officials to take a look, deciding whether or not they would want to stop this race. Now, take a look at the points. Biffle would have a 24-point lead over Mike Wallace. Jack Sprague would drop to third. Andy Houston would remain in fourth, but he would be 74 markers behind. Kurt Busch in fifth, 121 points out of first. And you're on board with Andy Houston right now, as Houston shown in 8th position, and there it is really apparent how much it is raining here at Kentucky Speedway. Stay with us. We'll take a commercial break. Keep your fingers crossed. At Kentucky Speedway, and we are under our 5th caution of the night, but we have passed the halfway point. But Benny, we were listening, and before we get into that, let's remind you about Detroit coverage. CART today, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time on ESPN2 tomorrow, and then it'll be the CART FedEx Championship on ESPN, the Tenneco Automotive Grand Prix of Detroit at 1 o'clock Eastern. Max Pappas has the pole for that one. That's tomorrow on ESPN. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of Go Network, go.com.
So far, we just haven't lost the racetrack. It's still, just in a few minutes, could be back in racing condition if it were to stop raining.
And that's why they're keeping the trucks out, but I'm starting to see
the trucks leaving the track as they go around the racetrack, and that means that we are getting quite a bit of moisture on the racetrack.
One of the interesting conversations we were listening during the commercial break, the radios, the guys were saying, you know, the guys that are not in the lead, Andy Houston was one, he said, hey, this is a brand new racetrack. They got a lot of fans out here. We're going to be here a while. They're not going to want to finish this one without going the distance. So, and I got to believe that's true, too. NASCAR always wants to try and do what they can to, especially look at this crowd. I mean, it has just been fantastic. The rain last night came down so hard, you had to stop on the freeway. It was 2.5 inches.
The start-finish line on pit road. So we'll meet you wherever you stop. 2 people's all they're saying.
Well, that's Rick Crawford's radio, so you hear the word that they're going to bring him into pit lane. And so we are going to go to a red flag condition here. And we're on board with Joe Ruttman, and you can see just how much rain is on the Dana Dodge. And Danny Gill back for his second race, and he is with Dave Burns.
Well, Danny, we just got word that Joe is going to bring it on to pit road now with everybody else. You've been having radio problems with him. Do they still persist?
Yeah, we haven't had radio communication since the first lap. He can hear us, but we can't hear anything he's saying.
So I was kind of joking around. He came racing before the days of radios in the first place. So how are you communicating with him now when you have to hear something back from him?
What we're doing right now, if he's loose, he comes through the travel high under caution. If he's tight, he comes through on the bottom. And the guys on the Dana Dodge have really worked well to try to get him tightened up. For some reason, we've gone loose tonight.
Okay, and you thought the track was going to tighten him up, didn't you?
I really did think the track would tighten up at night, but the track has changed each day. We came in on a Thursday, and the track was loose. On Friday, the track was tight. I guess now on Saturday, it's gone loose. Maybe if we come back and run tomorrow, the truck will be good.
Don't even say come back and run tomorrow, Danny. Let's go to Amy East with Tim Cahoot.
Well, Tim Cahoot decided to have his driver, Mike Wallace, follow Sprague down pit lane there on lap 51 and seemed to give you guys the track position here for halfway. Was that even a thought in your mind at that point?
Yes, it was. You know, what was more important even than that is we needed to lead a lap because it's 5 bonus points and we're in this point battle. So we're trying to focus on that every race to make sure we're up front and lead. We know there's a couple of trucks that may be a little better than us right now, but maybe this weather will play into our favor.
Well, I think Tim Cahoot sure still wants to see this place get real wet. We're going to let him go down to his driver right now. It seems as though they've stopped down on pit lane.
Yes, remember, under a red flag condition, no work can be done on the race trucks, so they'll just cover them up and try and keep them dry.
Remember at Dover a couple of weeks ago when we saw Tony Stewart's crewman in the pit doing the rain dance? I would like to see Timmy Cahoot out doing a rain dance, wouldn't you? Now, that would be a picture.
Yeah, well, Timmy's got 2 left feet. That's why it would really be interesting. We've seen him do some dances in the pit lane. There's Jack Sprague getting covered up. He's climbing out of the cockpit. Now, about a week or so ago, to do some advanced PR work, Jack Sprague, Joe Ruttman, and Terry Cook came to Riverfront Stadium, home of the Cincinnati Reds. Now, watch this. The pitch, hey, at least he was better than Juan Montoya. Montoya sent it about 5 feet over the catcher's head. Was a little high and maybe a little outside, but Jack, you did the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series proud. Did him proud. So he's heading back to get under some cover, and it looks like we're going to be under a wet condition for a few more minutes, because it is coming down here at Kentucky Speedway. Stay with us. We're back with more at the Kroger 225. Inaugural event of the Kentucky Speedway on lap 83. The race is official. Halfway was lap 75, but none of the fans are leaving, and we're hoping that the rain will stop and we'll be able to get this one in.
Because what they saw the first 82 laps of this race was pretty doggone good racing. We saw Biffle and Sprague and all these guys running side by side. We saw Busch crash spin trying to go for the second place or the lead. So, well, I think what we've seen so far has been pretty interesting.
Yeah, Busch made some fans tonight, I guarantee you, in Kentucky, coming from 32nd all the way to get to the front. Brian Reffner, our pole sitter, and the man who led 49 laps. Do you know if he leads one more lap, Amy East, that's as many as he's led in his entire career.
Well, he definitely did not want to see the rain. While Mike Wallace is just doing the rain dance down there at the 2-pit, you're very disappointed. Your truck was good, but you guys pitted on lap 60. You lost that track position. Now, you were picking them off one by one, but do you wish you maybe would have come down on lap 51 when the 2 and the 24 came down, if you could do it all over again?
Well, it's easy to say now, but, we'd passed the 24 already, and, another 5 laps we'd have got by the 18, the 2, and we just had to deal with the Roush trucks. But, it's a shame. We had a great truck. John's Mansville Chevy was just awesome today, and it's a great feeling, It's the biggest disappointment to see the rain. It really is. I just thought our first win was going to be here. We had to pull, and it's a big letdown. But as bad as Mike's praying for rain, we're hoping it'll stop.
That's right. I was going to say, now don't throw this thing away yet. There is still an opportunity for us to rain. We do have lights here. Let's not forget that. Another quick question: do you think that all the testing that you guys did in the wind tunnel last week with this truck is why you have such a strong race truck here?
Well, it definitely helps. Every time you learn something, you're going to gain from it. A little of that, just being able to have a test day here the day before we qualified was a big help. And the team in general is getting better. So, you put all them together, and you got a team that's going to run up front.
All right, well, Brian Reffner's team did what they needed to do. They got him out of pit lane first when he stopped there the first time. But they'd like to go back green and win this thing on the track.
Well, as the rain continues to fall, let's take a look at the current running order. Mike Wallace is at the lead. He started 17th. Joe Ruttman has moved into second. Kurt Busch and Greg Biffle, the Killer Bees from Roush Racing, third and fourth. Brian Reffner holds down the number 5 spot. Then it is Jack Sprague. Lance Norrick with a great run going with that fractured left wrist. Marty and Andy Houston in 8th and 9th. And David Starr with a good run in the number 10 slot. Then Rob Morgan, Rick Corelli, Randy Tolsma, Dennis Setzer, and Rick Crawford rounding out your top 15. Then you can see that we had 21 trucks on the lead lap. Steve Grissom, Jimmy Hensley, then Jamie McMurray, B.A. Wilson, and Doug George and Scott Riggs in the 21st slot. And then trucks that are out of this race, Bonifield, Boyd, Cook, and Horn. Remember also that we had a crash right at the beginning of the race. It took out Chris Horn and Terry Cook. And let's go down to catch up with Greg Biffle, our points leader. He's with Dave.
And, Marty, he covers up his truck running in 4th place. And, Greg, at the start of the race, you were a little nervous because you thought you might have a dominant truck. You're not happy with it right now, are you?
Yeah, no, our truck's terrible right now. It rained a whole bunch last night, about 3 inches. Probably washed a lot of rubber off the track. And there at the start, it's just slipping and sliding, and right before the cautions come out, we put new tires on, it starts to get pretty good, you know, and starts going. But, you know, we're just kind of hanging out up there and trying to stay out of trouble and, you know, save our stuff for the end of the race, and maybe we might have something for the leaders and make some more spring rubber adjustments and tire pressure, and maybe we get a little better for the end.
So do you need to be looser off the corner, tighter off the corner? What's the biggest problem right now?
Well, the biggest problem is a little bit loose down into the corner, and then it won't turn from the center out. So, you know, that's probably about the worst case scenario. You got to slow down a little bit going in, and it gets you slow across the middle, and, you know, then it won't accelerate down the straightaway, and feels like the motor doesn't have any power, you know, because you're not on the gas when the other trucks are. So we're struggling a little bit with it now, but we'll get it better.
Now, you saw your teammate go to the front and then have some troubles. Have you been able to tell from the way Kurt's driving what his situation is?
Yeah, that's what I've done to my truck. I loosened it up, you know, got it freer and just drove it in the corner more fragile, and then you can get the throttle down sooner and carry more speed across the center. And that's what I've done to my truck now, but it's pretty hairy to drive it like that. But we'd like to get it better and still, you know, turning off the corner like it is, but just get it better down into the corner. So we'll keep working on it. And, you know, I'm pretty free like he was, so we got to be careful when we're racing around other trucks.
All right, tiptoeing out here, guys, even under dry conditions.
So that's the latest on Greg Biffle's situation. You can see the covers spread out in the grandstand. These fans, they're hardy souls. This is their first race. Let's get you up to speed in case you're just tuning in to round 12 of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. In the very first lap, watch what happens. Terry Cook goes in the 88pickup-truck.com Chevrolet, and boy, gets into Riggs, then into Chris Horn, and then into the wall. Jay Stewart was also involved in this one, but he was able to get back out. For Horn and for Terry Cook, the day was over. Then for Kurt Busch, it got a little bit hairy. He was going for the race lead, goes underneath Brian Refner and lights up the tires to try and save it, and he did manage to keep it off the wall with a great save. Came in, strapped on 4 new tires, finds himself now in the 3rd position. Stay with us as we go to break. Happy birthday to Burke Magnus at ESPN headquarters. Burke, we're going to make your life miserable tomorrow and on Monday. A red flag condition because of rain, and it's the second time it's rained since 6 o'clock. We got the race started about 32 minutes late, but as we take a look at our Dodge race recap, we are stopped here on lap number 84. Mike Wallace is our current leader. He has led 18 of the 82 laps, and 4 lead changes, and we've had 5 cautions now for 23 laps. Average speed is 106.7 miles per hour. And then there are the 4 guys that have led, and so far Brian Refner's led the most laps. Remember, you get 5 extra bonus points for leading the most laps. Wallace, Biffle, Norick also pick up 5 bonus points. Then out of the race, Phil Bonifield, Stan Boyd, Terry Cook, and Chris Horn. Let's go down to Dave Burns, who's caught up with that hot shoe and leading in the Rookie of the Year points, Kurt Busch.
Now, Marty, he's been down here thinking things over. Kurt, first of all, tell us what happened when you lost control of the truck.
It's a weird situation with the aerodynamics. We spent the last 3 days trying to get it out of the air. We didn't get it back in the air for the race. We're just way too loose, way too tight around other trucks. It won't stick to the track. I probably got all the other guys scared. It's a different truck in the race versus qualifying.
Now I thought, let me see if I understand right, though. It will race better with trucks than it will actually lead. Is that right?
It's weird with the Excite truck. When it gets around the 50 or when it gets towards the front, it will not lead. It's a weird situation. We had trouble at Daytona leading the lap. We struggled at Texas. We struggled at Pikes Peak. And obviously here, it just, I need to be behind somebody so to cut the air. But when I get behind somebody, it won't stick to the track. I'm good by myself.
And that's one of those things where you really just have trouble. There's no feeling in the front end. Is it that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's just like somebody threw banana peels under it. We just lose grip all 4 corners, and it's a handful. We've spent the last 3 days going fast by ourselves. We're just not fast with the rest of the bunch.
Big challenge tonight for rookie leader Kurt Busch. Amy East?
Well, while we remember that Mike Wallace stopped on lap 51 and he is now our leader, Jack Sprague also stopped then, and you're back in 6th. So obviously an ill-handling truck. What's going on with you guys out there?
I'm not real sure. At the start of the race there, the GMAC Chevrolet was good. We were running 3rd, just a little tight off, and changed right side tires, and man, I flew into evil. So just kind of hanging on right now, trying to figure out what we can do to make it better. And I'm sure Dennis will come up with something and get us back toward the front.
Well, feeling that the rain is now about gone, I can barely even feel a drop. What have you and Dennis Connor talked about seeing if this goes back green?
Well, we're still discussing that. I'm not real sure what we're going to do. We've got to try something because we can't win the way we are. But there's a lot of rain behind us, so, hopefully we'll get back going, but it's not looking real good.
All right, keep digging.
Thank you.
A great statistic on Jack Sprague, 83% of the time that he has started, and that's 134 starts in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, he has finished in the top 10, and 60% of those have been in the top 5. That's mark of a pretty doggone good driver, BP.
Yes, these NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series and Jack Sprague just seem kind of to fit each other. Although, obviously, Sprague, like most other race car drivers, he has aspirations of being a Winston Cup driver, and I think would be a very good Winston Cup driver. As we see the offices and the for the Kentucky Speedway over there.
That's on the backstretch side of the racetrack, actually towards turn 3. And as we pull back, you'll see the banking, 14 degrees of banking in the corners. And Mike Wallace, who, if this holds up, would get credit for the victory. It'd be his 5th in 80 career starts. He's with Dave Burns.
And he's with the rest of the team right now, sitting around talking about what might be going to get an umbrella here just in case. But the sprinkles really aren't that bad right now.
Hey, Mike, it's not raining, you big wimp.
Yeah, see, there's probably a sponsor on there, though, Benny. And, oh, yeah, see, what did I tell you? Is this some kind of an announcement, Mike, or something like that?
No, I just, we're,
No announcement. Okay, we just want to get that clear. You guys did a great job getting to the front now, and obviously you're hoping for a little rain dance here, right?
Well, we really want to finish the race for the race fans, but we'll take a win any way we can get it. The 50, the 99, the 3 seem to be a little quicker than we are. Pit cycle changed things around. We're fortunate we let our laps for our 5 bonus points like we needed to, but hey, DW helped design this racetrack, and I watched him win a race in Darlington a few years ago with it raining, so we'll take it any way we can get it.
Everybody's been chasing the track so far, Mike, it seems. Have you come up with a solution right now? Is the truck the best it's been all weekend?
Well, it's probably the best it's been, but it doesn't appear to be quite good enough against some of the other trucks that are there. We got a great restart and got a run on them, but they were coming, and we need to be a little bit freer in the middle of the corner. I need the front end to cut just a little bit better. I can pick up the gas quicker. It's got to where you're on the gas a long time here, and a flat 3 and 4 or flat entry into 3 confused you a little bit compared to entry into 1, but we'll get it figured out, and we got closer in that change. That pit stop, we made a track bar adjustment, and if it goes back to racing, which I kind of want it to and probably really don't want it to, where we're kind of cool on these inaugural races. We won Daytona and like to win here, but if not, we'll just go back and race all those guys, and hopefully we can have a great finish tonight.
All right, and of course it'd be, as we mentioned earlier, a great finish for his sponsor, 125th race for Team ASC. The sponsor that is, and if he could win, who knows, maybe Rusty could win at Pocono. He's on the pole and could be an all-Wallace weekend.
And Mike finished 2nd last time out at Texas, and so they have definitely had their act together. In fact, his worst finish was back at Pikes Peak when he came in 33rd with the crash. And everybody's taking opportunities to go load up and refuel in the bleachers. We'll be back with more of the Kroger 225. Stay with us. We're in a rain delay. Kentucky Speedway, the inaugural event. That's an interesting umbrella, BP.
Yeah, she loves me. She loves me not.
Well, you pull too many, you won't have anything covered yet.
I know.
Well, the rain has slowed. In fact, we're looking out our window, and it's down to just a slight drizzle. And, Amy, you've caught up with Lance Norrick. He's currently running in 7th. My big question is, how's that broken wrist?
Well, we're going to ask him, just chit-chatting with him, though. It seems to be okay. How is the wrist?
The wrist is good. This Aventus Bearing Chevrolet is just really running good. The crew guys gave me a really good truck this weekend. This facility here in Kentucky is absolutely awesome. You can run 3 wide anywhere on the track, 4 wide in places. There's so much grip out here. All the fans are sitting here in the rain, and I just hope we get it going again. But the Aventus Bearing Chevrolet, we just need to get up a little bit further.
Tell me a little bit about what your truck does in drafting. You were saying it's been awfully frustrating. You'll pass a truck, and then they'll just pass you back, and you just can't hang with him.
Yeah, we've been in the top 5 trucks all weekend, in practice and stuff. And then the bad thing is we got here in the draft, and my truck won't pull up in the draft, starving for air a little bit, and we think we know why. We just made a few little mistakes on our air cleaner, but it'll be okay. We'll hang in there, and that mistake won't happen again.
Well, it's been nice to see Lance Norrick back running a full race. Usually we see Hermie Sadler jump in the seat for him, but he seems to be feeling pretty good, and we wish him good luck. Dave Burns?
And I'm standing by with David Starr, who is driving the Conley Racing number 7. And David, pretty good run for you. We know you stayed out. You picked up track position that way, but you've been pretty racy, too.
The truck's handling pretty good. We came in early on and took on some left side tires, and we stayed out during that last caution because I told them on the radio the truck was feeling great, so why come in, because, I don't think we could have made the truck better, so we went ahead and just stayed out.
Now, you're having some trouble with the bump down in turn 3. You said that's increased for you a little bit since the start of the weekend?
Well, when you go into 3 down there's a patch down there where they patch the racetrack, and I'm noticing now these last couple of laps when you enter corner number 3, it really upsets the truck. It gets it loose, so we're having to back off a little bit early to deal with that, but it's exciting. I'm just excited to be here at Kentucky Motor Speedway. I mean, what an awesome racetrack it is. These fans are getting to see a good race tonight, so hopefully this rain will go away and we'll get back to racing.
And after winning a Winston West race earlier this year at Las Vegas, what would it mean to score your first top 10 in the Truck Series?
I tell you what, it'd be like a dream come true for David Starr. I mean, it's just a dream to be out here racing like I am. And I'd like to thank Chasco Contracting out of Austin, Texas for backing me as long as they have. And, we're just trying to do the best we can out here, and hopefully we'll have a good finish tonight.
That's right. Chasco's with him at Texas Motor Speedway as well. And join him again on the truck here, David Starr, running well right now, and I think he's doing a little rain dance too.
Yeah, they've brought that hot truck home 11th at Memphis in Texas, and this would be, if he can hold on to this 10th position, a career best for him in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Now we got some hot rod action coming your way from Columbus, Ohio, actually Kirkersville. It's a little east of Columbus, Pontiac Excitement Nationals, and it is going to be tomorrow on ESPN2, NHRA action. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of Go Network, go.com. Stay with us. Back with more right after this. The track here for the Kroger 225, the inaugural running here at the Kentucky Speedway. Our 4th rain delay of the season. Seems like we've been sort of plagued by it. In fact, if you were with us last week at Texas, you know that you had to be an insomniac to see the race because it aired originally at 3:30 in the morning. So just in case you want to get caught up on what happened there and didn't get to see the race, let's take you back and show you the best of it. It was immediately apparent that Greg Biffle would be the man to beat when he grabbed the Bud pole on Thursday. The first foe on Friday was rain that caused a 2-hour, 15-minute delay of the green flag. When it did fly, Biffle stormed to the lead of the Pronto Auto Parts 400 with everyone else in the 38-truck field duking it out behind. Marty Houston had a good run go bad when he got loose next to Dennis Setzer, spun to the inside and went through the very soggy infield. He battled back for a 7th place finish, but the incident caused significant damage to Terry Cook's number 88 Chevrolet as well. Andy Houston, however, put in a great run after a happy hour action forced him to start dead last at the rear of the field. He would end up in 4th. The first trouble for points leader Jack Sprague was on this green flag pit stop when no power steering. He pitted too close to the wall, causing difficulty with the left side tire change. Frustration ensued on the crew as they pushed the 24 back out to salvage as good a finish as possible. Then on lap 105, Randy McDonald in the 72, Joe Ruttman and the Dana Dodge got together with both spinning and bringing out the caution. Sprague decided to pit but continued to have more problems, and we saw a rare emotional blow-up among the crew. Unfortunately, things would only get worse. Meanwhile, up front, Brian Refner, Mike Wallace, and Greg Biffle were battling it out side by side for the top spot, with Biffle eventually regaining the lead. Then on lap 122, Sprague got loose, lost control, spinning directly into the path of front-runner Rob Morgan. Both were okay, but neither was able to continue, and the incident ended a great run for the Axiom Ford and would cause a huge shakeup in the points chase. On the final restart, Kurt Busch slammed the wall hard, but maintained control, and he fell back to 6th. But no one could catch Greg Biffle as the Granger Ford scored its 2nd win of the season and first ever at Texas Motor Speedway. The traditional donuts we saw so many times last year ensued, and Biffle smiled all the way to a 14-point lead in the series standings. So now you're up to date, BP. What'd you think?
I talked to Kurt Busch down there earlier and asked him what happened on that last situation where he just kind of looked like he just came up and drove in the wall. 3 laps previous to that, going down in turn 1, he said he was on the gas so hard trying to pass the truck that he got a cramp in his calf muscle. and could not shake that cramp loose, and it was just killing him. And he was concentrated on the cramp and just kind of lost his focus on driving around the racetrack and came off turn 2 and just basically drove it in the wall.
Dave has caught up with Marty Houston. Marty right now running in the top 10. In fact, he's in the number 8 position in front of brother Andy. That'll make for some interesting dinner conversation.
That's right. They have that conversation around the table from time to time, running a little bit quicker than his brother right now. But you tell me that one of the reasons why the Spears manufacturing program has been running so well is because of the body, the fab work that Bo Fletcher's been doing. And why is that?
Well, that's a big part of it. Bo put the body on this truck. We actually built this truck for Dover, got it ready a little bit early and decided, let's take it to Texas, see what it'll do. Right out of the box, top 5, all practices. We run top 5 all night. Ended up, driver error got us a lap down, ended up 7th. And, so we bring it here, top 5, all the practice sheets. Just a good truck. We may even take it to the road course if we can switch it over. No, we won't, but yeah, Bo's done a good job. I feel like we've got as good a Chevrolet body here as anybody. Chevy's got a good speedway program, so we're pretty happy with this truck right now.
Well, and he's proud of all the guys on the Spears manufacturing team. Now, the Spears team, of course, are his homies. Now, these guys back here, I'm sorry, those are his posse. I get that right? Okay. These are his homies, Jeff Miles, truck driver and catch can man for Jack Sprague, and Carson Ford, the tire changer for Rick Crawford. I'm not sure what the difference is exactly. Amy, maybe you can tell me the difference between the homies and the posse.
Well, let's see if brother Andy, we're down here listening to your brother Marty, and he says he's got homies and posse, and what's he talking about?
I have no clue. With him, there's no telling, but he's running good, and, I guess he's in a good mood. So it's pretty fun to be out there racing against him, and, we're running right there together, and he's hung me out a couple of times, and, I'm going to have to get in there and rough him up a little bit.
All right, well, you are running right behind Marty right now, so what you obviously wanted to clear up. You want to race. You're sitting in 9th position right now. What do you have for him here if we go back green?
I mean, I don't really know. The truck's a little tight right now off the corner. I hope we get this race going because we got a lot better truck than 9th place truck. And, there's a couple guys. We pitted there a little later than those other guys, thinking the rain was a little farther away than what it was. And hopefully we can get cleared back up here and get back out on the racetrack and move up some spots.
Well, right before we came on the air here with Andy, I said, hey, we're down talking to your brother Marty right now. He goes, oh, well, then I got plenty of time because he talks and talks and talks. So I just love these two brothers down here. They have a lot of fun.
Well, I'll tell you, Marty's also got a dog named Molly, had 7 puppies, and he's trying to make a deal. That's an Australian Shepherd and a whatnot. That's the way he described it. And whether or not we get this race tonight, we've got racing next weekend for sure. It's going to be the Bully Hill Vineyards 150 from Watkins Glen on ESPN Saturday at round 13 in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Then on Sunday, Lysol 200, the Busch Series, noon Eastern time. That's all next weekend on ESPN. Back with more after this. Just at Kentucky Speedway, we're under our 4th rain delay of the season on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. But look at this crowd. They have not given up, as they're all taking advantage to head for the concession stands and to the rest areas, and some of them just trying to get out of the drizzle that continues to fall here at this beautiful new 1.5-mile facility. Now, if this race does not restart, this is the way the points would end up for the evening. Greg Biffle would have a 24-point margin over Mike Wallace. He would move 5 points ahead of Jack Sprague. Andy Houston would remain in 4th, 74 points behind. Kurt Busch would remain in 5th. Joe Ruttman would pick up a couple of spots, would tie Dennis Setzer for basically 6th place. They each would be 256 markers back. Steve Grissom would be in the 8th spot, and Mr. Refner would jump up from 10th to 9th, knocking Mr. Tolsma from 9th to 10th. So that would round out the points. But we're going to do everything we can to get this race in tonight here at Kentucky Speedway, and hopefully you'll be able to stick with us. And let's go to Amy, who has caught up with Rick Crawford.
Thanks, Marty. And Rick, let's talk first of all. You seem to have had the best viewpoint of anybody with that Ryan McGlynn crash. What happened there? Did you see anything unusual?
Well, actually, I thought I was ahead of him a little bit, and we went when he went in that corner, and I just felt like a wind tap more or less. It wasn't really. I don't think there was a scratch on my truck, and it got me loose, and then I caught it, and I looked in my mirror and I seen him sideways. So that's about what I saw. But if I cut down, I apologize for that. But anyway, we was racing for that bottom groove, I guess you'd call it. I thought I gave him enough room.
Okay, now let's talk about some of the hardships that your team's had so far this weekend. I understand your spotter, Bill Marlowe, suffered a heart attack here on Thursday. It was actually the first one ever flown out of this speedway. Not something I'm sure that you want to remember, but how is he doing?
We had to give him that airlift helicopter ride to a local hospital, great hospital, St. Elizabeth, and they took care of him, give him a little balloon in one of his arteries, and he's back in the motel room right now, going to fly back home tomorrow. So, Bill, get well soon. Come on back. We'll see him in Watkins Glen and down further down the road, and he's doing great. I appreciate the prayers from everybody.
Okay, and let's just take a quick look here at Rick's son. This is Adam. You think he wants to grow up and be just like Dad? He's got the suit and all. Dave Burns?
Earlier tonight, we told you that Rick Corelli had some help this week from a guy named Todd Barrier, who used to crew chief the number 3 truck for Jay Sauter when it was in the series, and now is turning wrenches for Kevin Harvick in the Busch Series. But you got some of his time this week, Rick. What was most important about having Todd around this week?
It was just a good thing. He called me last Tuesday, and said, hey, if you can get me there and get me back home, I'll come out and help you. It was really good. I mean, we're all learning, going through this, trying to figure out what we need to do here and get everything in the right direction. The guys are doing a great job, and Todd just came out and gave some guidance. He's been involved in it for a number of years, with Richard Childress, and he does a great job, and they're moving up with Kevin and doing a great job, and he was one of the ones that stayed with me when I got hurt last year in Memphis, and I mean, we've been really good friends since then, and he just said, hey, come on out, and I'll help you out, and it was good bouncing ideas off him, and we could relate it and feed it, and we were the fastest truck on practice day, and right now we got a pretty decent truck. We're just buying our time, and we got another pit window, and we'll see where we can put it, but I think we can put the number 66 Carlin Burners in the top 5 tonight, the way it's running right now.
Now, you've been having to make the calls then on setup. Have you been chasing the track? Have you been pretty happy where it's been since the start of the race?
Well, Todd was here, he talked to Mitch and the guys, and he ran a little checklist, told me not to get aggravated when I was there, and they just made a couple adjustments. We got some rubbers in the truck, and if we need something to done, we'll move the air pressure up or down, and he went through it with them what to do. And right now, I mean, on new tires, the truck's really loose, but I mean, these tires are they run forever. It's just you don't have a lot of grip in them right away, but once they get heat in them, they're great. We've already cycled through our stickers, so right now our stickers are off, and we'll put scuffs back on, and I think the truck will be pretty decent. Right now it's just a little tight, but this weather is going to change it again, so the truck's probably going to free up, and hey, we'll pit again here after lap 87 to 120 or something, and maybe we can go the rest way.
All right, and the Mitch you referred to is Mitch Jarrett on his team. He is the crew chief that stands on the box and talks to me when I have questions during the course of the show. Marty?
Well, thanks, Dave. With this rain delay, it has given us the opportunity to get Jerry Carroll, the man who was behind this beautiful Kentucky Speedway facility. Jerry, welcome. Congratulations, albeit the weather is trying to put a damper on it, but boy, the fans really supported you.
You couldn't put a damper on the fans. In fact, we ended up with many more fans than we anticipated, enough that finally the state troopers had to tell us they had to close down the area coming in here. We had a 14-mile backup.
Wow.
So, I think we would have had here tonight, without question, 80-some thousand fans. The press here in the Cincinnati area, Columbus, Louisville, Lexington, has just been tremendous. This is where people want to come to see racing, and they proved it tonight.
Well, you had this vision. I mean, I remember when you redid Turfway Park and turned that complete facility around. What was it that inspired you that said, this is a spot where racing can survive and thrive?
I love this area. I've been doing business in this area for 15 years as a developer. We feel very strongly about what's going to happen in this area. We have everything we said we were going to have, will do, we have done. But it's an area where people love their sports, and they definitely live. When we did a survey, we found out that people want to see motorsports in this area. They'll pay the money, they'll wait in the car, they'll do whatever it takes to get here, but they wanted a very good facility, and I think that's what we provided them.
We're looking at the beautiful infield section with the garage layout, and this is a unique design. How did you come up with it?
Well, I got to give Darrell Waltrip a little credit for that. He said what we needed was an area where we could back the trucks up, have the garage and enough area where we could work on the cars, and have a big enough area out front. We really didn't care about putting campers in that area. What we wanted to do was make the garage area very available for these unbelievable crews that do a tremendous job. I mean, that's a heartbeat of this industry. And then the driver and all of that, we wanted to have enough area that they could get their job done and feel good about doing it.
And there's about, I think, a total of 96
garages. 108.
Yeah, 108. Okay, so I stand corrected there. And I knew you'd know that. I mean, I saw the statistics. In 18 months, you put down 45 miles of pavement. You put up enough concrete to construct a 50-story building. Was there ever a doubt in your mind that you would have been ready to go here in June of 2000?
Yesterday. There was no doubt. But we felt, I do this for a living. I develop properties, and never anything like this. Bill Moss, a lot of guys had a lot to do with this thing and getting it done. Mark Cassis, our general manager. A lot of people really worked night and day to get it. And this is why you hate to see something like the rain, which you can't do anything about, really cause you a lot of headaches. But that's part of racing. We know that. In horse racing, we would have gone ahead, of course, and had the races on a sloppy track. But you can't do it here. But I'll tell you what, I really appreciate you guys coming and the job that you've done here with us, because we got to get this out. We probably have 35,000, 40,000 people here that have never seen a race. And I think that's important. These are people that have come, a lot of them, that have never really seen a race. They want to get out and see a race. And we can't go to Indianapolis because they're sold out all the time.
Yeah, well, we definitely appreciate you taking the time. I know you've probably got about 1,001 things to do here, but we appreciate you taking the time. Come up. Congratulations and continued success. I mean, this was a great night despite what the weather's tried to do to us.
Well, we've got some other races coming up, and we appreciate you guys being here, and it's an honor having you. Thanks again.
Thank you, Jerry. We're going to take a commercial break. It looks like, well, is this flag football, or is that Joe Rutman down there trying to play? No, couldn't be. That's the Dana Dodge crew, though. Stay with us. Kentucky Speedway, the rain has stopped, and it looks like we're going to try and get the track dried here as the trucks are out, the jet dryers are out, but it will take some time, and it's probably going to run us past the top of the hour. We're going to be going to baseball tonight at 10 o'clock with Dave Revson, Rob Dibble, and Brian McRae. You can see the trucks going out and getting this track dry. We're going to try and figure out when we're going to be getting back to racing here. Benny, a lot of things happening here this first night. We just had an interesting conversation with Jerry Carroll and the number of people that showed up and the action that those that did make it and those of you at home who tuned in, fast and furious. And Dave, you've caught up with one of the competitors who's made it that way, Rob Morgan.
And he's been a lot faster and a lot more furious this year because of crew chief Bill Engel, who stands by with him. And Bill's a former light heavyweight fighter. I just learned that about him this weekend. And he's got his game face on right now, don't you, Bill? Rob, how has he helped you with some of the training techniques that he has used as a fighter? I mean, has he got you in saunas and things like that now?
Yeah, last year I had a little trouble with my heat conditioning, so Bill came in this year, and he's got me doing some awkward things at the gym. I think everybody at the gym probably thinks I'm a little weird. I'm getting in the sauna with a full sweatsuit, towel wrapped around my neck, sweat top, towel over my head, all tucked in, and staying in there about 30 minutes and working out while I'm in there. So it's a little strange. I've gotten to where I'm getting a little bit better at it. But it's something I wouldn't have thought to do until he came along. But it's got me doing some different things, and I think it's working out for me.
Now, Rob, tonight you've had a little trouble at the start of the race, and now where are you as far as the truck is concerned?
We're pretty good. We've actually lost a clutch coming down pit lane, so that's not going to be good for pit stops. We'll get out of here okay, but truck's a little tight from the center off, but it's running pretty good.
Remember, these guys have really had a turnaround this year. Outside pole last week at Texas and a near top 10 finish until a wreck late in the race, guys.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dave. Rob Morgan has certainly been a nice turnaround. Now let's show you action that started, well, a little bit after 8 o'clock Eastern time, a 30-minute rain delay. This was the first lap here at Kentucky Speedway, and the man who goes in the record book is the the pole sitter, Brian Reffner. Then as the race continued, you could see that they were going to think about 4 wide, but they had better discretion. A little later, take a look at what happens as there is Greg Biffle getting a little bit high. Here comes Reffner. The truck was on a rail early, and he retook the lead. In fact, had led 49 laps when the red flag came out. Watch Kurt Busch, 99 Exide Ford,
and he ends up spinning it around, but lights up the tires, does a great job of saving the truck, and right now finds himself in third place. Then Ryan McGlynn makes contact with the 14 of Rick Crawford, and he spins it around and hits the wall, but he is back into the contest. This was the last round of pit stops. Brian Reffner gave up track position. It may come back to haunt him, as he is now finding himself in 5th spot because of the red flag. Now, this was the battle for the race lead, and it was Mike Wallace taking it. We're going to take a break. We'll have more from Sports Center. Baseball tonight is up next. For Benny, I'm Marty, Dave, and Amy. So long for now.
We're going to try 4 wide for a second, thought better of it. Then a little bit later, it was Greg Biffle taking the lead, gets loose, and that allows Reffner to come shooting back around. Reffner would end up leading 49 of our original 82 laps before the red flag came out for the rain. Then look what's happened to Kurt Busch. He gets loose, turns it around, lights up the tires, and does a miraculous job of keeping the Exide Ford off of the concrete wall. And as right now, he is in 2nd place. Then a little contact between Rick Crawford and the 14 and double O of Ryan McGlynn. McGlynn doesn't light him up and crunches the left and right, left rear and front of that truck. And then in the pit stop, the last one before the rains hit, Reffner did not get out as quickly as he did the first pit stop, and that's what brought us to this moment. Lance Norrick stayed out, inherited the lead. Mike Wallace stayed out, and he would be right on the back bumper and dive underneath Lance Norrick and the Aventus Chevrolet to put the Team ASE Ford at the head of our field. Now, here's the way everything's going to shape up. The top 15 all on the lead lap here at the Kroger 225. The Houston brothers will start at 6th and 7th. We already talked about the top 5. And as we look on further down through the field, Scott Riggs in the 15th spot. Dennis Setzer in 16th. That team has not been threatening tonight. Now with pit stops, you can see that Hensley, Morgan, Norrick, and Ruttman all fall back in the field, and then in 1 lap down territory. And then here is the group that has suffered the most. Most of these guys are either behind the wall or struggling just to stay out on the track. So now you're caught up as to what happened before our rain delay. Now, Greg Biffle decides to bring it into pit lane, as does Andy Houston and Steve Grissom. So, Amy, what's going on?
Well, remembering that these teams had a lot of time during that rain delay to get their strategies in order, Randy Goss decided to give Biffle some right-side tires, make a chassis adjustment, and hope this will be good enough for them to go to the end.
Well, you're right. With 64 laps to go, some of the teams were saying they could go 70 laps on fuel, VP. So these guys theoretically have just made their last stop.
That was Greg Biffle's last stop. I saw them put a piece of tape. Looked like they put a piece of tape over the grill, which ought to help the aerodynamics on the Granger Ford.
Let's go back and show you our onboards. This is the Dana Dodge of Joe Ruttman. Currently, Ruttman is running in the 19th position.
Also, Rick Crawford on the racetrack, the Milwaukee Electric Tools out there. He's running.
Racetrack is ready. You coming to 1 to go. 1 to go. Stay out. 1 to go.
Mike Cheek telling Rick Crawford 1 to go. Andy Houston, the Cat Runnel onboard camera. And Mike Wallace, Team ASC onboard camera. You see, the 125th race. We see other cars going down to get that last pit stop, because now they can all go the rest of the way.
Jack Sprague peeled off, as did the 25 of Randy Tolsma. So pit strategy here. It looks like this is going to be decided on the racetrack, as this will be the last stop for all these trucks. Amy, they're coming your way.
Well, Jack Sprague and Dennis Conner decided that they needed to make a change. Remember, Jack Sprague was extremely frustrated. So what they decided was to change right side. They're going to disconnect the rear sway bar, add a half a rubber to the right rear, and hope that it works out for him.
So as he pulls back out, we're going to take a commercial break. We'll be back as we go green flag racing here at the Kentucky Speedway, the Kroger 225. The lights are out on the pace truck. An hour and 5 minutes of rain delay, and we're finally going to go back to green flag racing here at the Kroger 225 at Kentucky Speedway. Mike Wallace on the point, lapped vehicles to the inside. Bush right behind him, Refner in third, Marty Houston fourth, Jack Sprague fifth.
Ready, green flag, green flag.
And we're green on lap 89. Big question mark now, BP, is what did the rain do to the racetrack, and who's it going to affect the most?
And some awfully good race trucks starting at the rear of the field on this restart, making that final pit stop.
On board with race leader Mike Wallace.
And Brian Refner, what a huge break this has to be for Brian Refner, because that third truck in line has shown to be all night long the class of the field. Can he work his way back to the front?
Right now, the top three trucks are trying to stretch it out a little bit. There, look at the traffic of the 50. Greg Biffle on the bottom. Look out, guys. That's Houston.
Man, oh man.
All the points that these guys are collecting by picking up these spots. That's Joe Ruttman in front of Jack Sprague at the right side of your screen. This is some great racing action going on back in this field. Sprague's losing contact with Ruttman. We're on board. That's Rick Ware. He's several laps down. Lucas Oil Telemetry.
We'll check Ruttman down the backstretch. He gets up to 174 miles per hour as he goes by Coy Gibbs. Also Randy McDonald, the 3M Chevrolet. Joey Harrington Power and this Dana Dodge goes down the front straightaway. Brian Refner right on the back bumper of Kurt Busch.
The top three in lockstep right now. They have opened up a little bit of a margin over fourth place. Marty Houston, there you see Marty, and then back in fifth, there's Rick Corelli. So Corelli has the best run of his season going right now in quite a while. I mean, that team has been struggling. His best was the season opener at Daytona at 7th. Right now he's in 5th. Look at the speeds, 166.5 miles an hour. Heading down the back straightaway. Now there is Rick Corelli in the number 66 Carlin Burners and Controls Ford, owned by Dale Phelan. Started in the number 9 position, has moved up to 5th, coming off a 31st finish at Texas, and boy, do they need a good run. How about it, Dave Burns? Well, they think they got their bad luck out of the way early today, Marty. 2 hours before race time, they were under the engine bay. They were in the engine bay. They were replacing a water pump on pit, or as it was sitting in the garage. They noticed water leaking out. They replaced that pump, got it back out there, and obviously he's at full song. Here we go. Kurt Busch is going to try the high side. Remember, he said the truck doesn't want to lead. Well, we're going to find out if he can.
And Brian Refner's out on the inside. They're 3 wide by the grandstand.
And Refner gets credit for leading the lap. And Refner is your race leader. There's Wallace on the outside. Gets a little twitch. That's allowed Houston to close up. Here comes Busch. Kurt's got a good run. Here comes the sandwich. Refner's the meat.
Another one outside. Got 75 outside.
Refner goes from first to third in the length of the back straightaway. And Marty Houston saying, you guys go ahead. I'm just waiting for you all to make a mistake.
So Kurt Busch once again has the X-side Ford out in front. Mike Wallace running his tailgate, and Brian Refner trying to figure out now. I know once I get back in front, I will have the fastest truck. How am I going to get back in front?
Well, we've had 5 different leaders, 6 lead changes, and Kurt Busch picking up those 5 bonus points. Well, I'll tell you what, started 32nd on a provisional, spun it, almost put it in the wall, saved it, and now comes back to lead the race with 54 laps to go. And if I told you you've never watched the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series that I'm talking about a rookie, you'd say, you're crazy.
A 21-year-old rookie, I might add.
On board with Mike Wallace. Take a look at the points. If it ended right now with Sprague further back in the field after that stop, he's in 12th. He would be in 3rd by 23. Wallace would be your leader. Biffle would be 1 back. 54 laps to go. 53 now. And Kurt Busch is in control. The rain may have favored the X-side Ford more than any. Going around Andy Gensman. He's several laps down. About the only good news for Andy Gensman, he and wife Nan had their 2nd baby boy, Dylan, born just a week ago. Now there is Greg Biffle moving up on the number 1, Mopar Dodge of Dennis Setzer.
That's a battle for the, looks like the 8th position.
And it looks like Biffle's going to move underneath and take it with ease.
So that means that Greg Biffle now would go back in the points lead if the points were tabulated now. But obviously they won't be until after the race is over.
52 laps remaining. You see the gap further back. With those passes that he has just completed, Biffle would move to an 11-point lead. So that's how quickly the points can change with everybody so close together in this championship chase. And right now, it looks like Setzer is going to try and do it one more time on the outside. So Setzer's found a little bit of new life on the back bumper of Greg Biffle. There's Jack Sprague, the 4th truck in line. Let's go back on board with Mike Wallace, currently running a ½ second behind Kurt Busch. And that's what it looks like on board the 2nd place truck. Stay with us. The Kroger 225 continues from Kentucky Speedway. Back at Kentucky Speedway, we're looking at the battle for 6th place here in the Kroger 225 as we have passed the 2/3 mark. And Scott Riggs has done a great job moving again into the top 10. He talked about how his plan in the Truck Series has worked.
A couple of months ago, when we were really just sort of running late model stock races back home, and we had a truck, just one truck in the shop, and we were trying to just make a race here and there and try to get some sponsorships to do so. And you know, everything's came so fast, and still sort of trying to catch up. You know, we sort of jumped in at midstream here, and the team and all really jumped in hard, both feet first, and got the trucks together, starting to prepare them, you know, very good. And I think that considering our inexperience, including my inexperience at these different racetracks with a truck, you know, I feel pretty happy about it. Just sort of trying to finish races right now.
Well, he has done more than just finish races. He has done very well taking over from Mike Pope in the 86 RC Cola Dodge. Take a look at some of the statistics in our Wonder Watch. Two-time track champion at Southern National. He has had 8 starts. His average start, 9.8. His average finish, exactly the same. His best start was 5th coming into the night at Martinsville. He matched it here, and he has been 3 times now in the 9th position. In fact, if you multiplied out his runs right now, if he had been with this team all along, he'd be tied for 7th in the points. Dave Burns, you got more?
I spoke with crew chief Charlie Long during the rain delay. They came in last time to change laps when the rain delay started, and they think they're going to have to come in one more time. The rain delay started about lap 78 or so, but it finished up. Actually, we got back to green about lap 83, so it's real close if guys are calculating between 50 and 60 laps to go on a fuel load.
Well, and some of the teams told us they could go 70, so it's just a matter of what your gear ratio is and how hard you are on the throttle. And here comes Riggs up on our 5th place truck, Rick Corelli. So this is a battle for position, BP.
Scott Riggs has done a terrific job in 86 RC Cola. And the caution flag, Joe Rutman, some heavy damage to the front of the Dana Dodge.
I don't know what happened to Rutman. I'm looking around to see what he hit. There doesn't look to be any other truck involved, but Rutman has serious damage to the Dana Dodge.
Look, he is running the back of another truck, but I don't know what that other truck was.
Now the strategy for Kurt Busch, they needed a pit somewhere around lap 108. Guess what? We're at lap 107. I have no idea what happened to Rutman. He was working his way back up after making the pit stop. And we're going to be able to show you from the onboard camera, so we'll get an opportunity to go back, BP.
Here it comes off the corner. This is coming off turn 4. And all of a sudden the truck just, ooh, he got a little loose. And when he corrected it, in the wall he goes. It didn't look like the car had made contact with the wall because I didn't see a lot of concrete dust, but the onboard camera shows exactly what happened.
And he is taking it directly behind the wall where the team will try and make repairs if it's possible, because remember, he is in the top 10 in points. In fact, he had a run going that would have moved him up 2 positions, and he's heading straight for the garage. In fact, right now, it is going to possibly take him out of the top 10. Yes, it would. So
now here comes the leader down pit road along with Mike Wallace.
And there is Kurt Busch pulling in. Dave?
The leader gives up his position. His crew goes to the right side. He was a little loose from the center off. They're going to try to adjust for that. And as they go to the right side, they said right before they went off, hit this stop, guys. A little slow now. Trouble on the right front. This is not what they needed. Fuel is full. He's out of here. Amy East.
Well, it looks like Brian Refner's crew is going to have a chance to gain him spots on pit lane. Just spoke with Les Fox. He said they were planning on making a stop for fuel on lap 125 anyway, so this falls right into their game plan as he gets right side. Fuel is good. A little trouble on the right front. Gets him down and out. It does not look like he's going to, and then stalls it. If anything, he lost several positions on pit lane. Very disappointing for the entire crew.
Boy, you're right, Amy. This one has been costly for the number 3. And he's got something trailing out of the back there. It doesn't look to be anything important.
It's like a piece of tape someplace. I don't know where that would have come from. Certainly not going to hurt anything. It might be a distraction for the trucks behind him.
Well, we're on board with Andy Houston, and he is currently shown in the 4th position, but we'll have to sort it all out with the pit stops and all. So stay with us. We'll be back at Kentucky right after this. Yeah, they did.
In the garage area now with Joe Rutman's Dana Dodge. Joe, what happened on the track?
I just lost it. I was just driving faster than the Dana Dodge could hang on. I just lost it, come down to 4 and got up in the wall. You know, the guys is getting it adjusted better and better all the time, but I was driving a little faster than I need to be going.
All right, and here at the inaugural race here at Kentucky Speedway, the crew will go to work on it, try to get this number 18 back on and earn some more points for Joe Ruttman. Amy East.
Well, Mike Wallace's Ultra Bad Boys were back in action. They gave him right side tires and fuel. Crew chief Tim Cahoot was going to stop at 1:15 anyway for just a fuel stop, but remembering under yellow flag conditions, you might as well take on the right side as you're waiting for the fuel, and that's what they elected to do. So they seem to feel pretty confident. Mike said, don't touch a thing, no adjustments. I like the truck.
All right, well, Greg Biffle stayed out. As you look at Tim Cahoot, he's made the last call on the truck. Biffle's in first. There he is in the Granger Ford. Randy Tolsma has stayed out and moved up to second. David Starr remained out and is in third. Steve Grissom fourth. Marty Houston fifth. Doug George came in, got fuel only, and came out in sixth position. Now, what happened?
Green flag, green flag.
As we go back to Greenville, Refner's all the way back to 13th, BP.
Yes, that might be the biggest break that Greg Biffle caught in this whole deal, was that Refner goes back to 13th. You see Bush going right between trucks, between Grissom and the Coy Gibbs truck, taking a spot away. And there we see Refner trying to find some place to get up front.
Biffle trying to break up the draft on Tolsma. Looking back in this gaggle of trucks, there was the number 3. Trying to fight his way through. He's got a bunch of trucks to try and get around. Right now, Sprague is going after Doug George. Now, remember, George only took fuel, so he's got some laps on those tires, and there goes Sprague underneath the Hot Wheels Dodge, and here comes Rick Crawford right behind him.
Back on throttle, so both those trucks will get by Doug George. Man, a battle for second place. David Starr still hanging in there.
Oh, and Bush is going into the wall hard.
Wow, awfully hard into the wall. He was not quite so lucky as the last time.
Oh, now we've got fire. A fire has erupted in the 99. Kurt is moving. Get the net down, buddy. There you go.
He's moving around in there, and it looks like the fire is trying to go out. There's still some fire there, but I don't think it's...
21-year-old is climbing out. His race is run. The crew is bolting towards the garage area. The fans give Kurt a hand, and the 21-year-old is very dejected right now. But he looks to be okay, and that's the best news of all. That was a hard hit, BP.
That was an awfully hard hit. As you can see, we see the firemen in the shadow on the wall with their hose slowly making their way. There they get to the truck, I should say. And okay, guys, that's enough stuff on there. It'll take 2 hours to clean that track off now.
Let's go back and take one more look at what happened to Kurt Busch.
Well, we talked to Kurt Busch during the rain delay, and he said getting in the corner was a handful. That the truck just getting in the corner, it got loose, and that's exactly what happened. Getting in the corner, the truck got loose, and look at the impact with the left front, and the rear comes around and smacks the wall, and then all those sparks flying around and all that contact. And the truck had just pitted just a few laps ago, so the fuel tank was full. It spilled some out, and that's what caused the fire with all those sparks. And we see, watch this. Oh, man, heavy.
It'll be Kurt's first DNF of his career in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. His prior worst finish was back at Martinsville when he came in at 23rd. He's had a second place run 3 times at Daytona, Mesa Marin, and Pikes Peak. And now let's take a look at it in real time.
Down the backstretch, trying to follow Tolsma. Watch when he goes in the corner and gets it loose. Just like he said he had a problem with. And around he goes, and bam. And what happened, he knocked the fuel pump off the truck. On the Ford, the fuel pump is on the left side. When he knocked the fuel pump off, that spilled some gasoline, which started the sparks, which went back to the gas tank.
On board with Rick Crawford.
Man, I'm glad I got by that.
Well, that's one advantage of the 14-degree banking. It's not so steep that you slide automatically down the track. Kurt was able to keep the truck on the high side. You can see where it came to a rest. So everybody was able to make it underneath very safely. So stay with us. We'll come back, clean up the mess here at the Kroger 225.
Back at Kentucky. back at Kentucky. Kurt Busch has emerged now from the infield care center. Kurt, first, are you all right?
Yeah, we're okay. Just a brain fart. I don't understand what it takes, but we need to get that truck better when I'm drafting out there with other trucks. I think we need to throw away all of our practice and just work on happy hour. It's tough being a rookie, learning all these new tracks, but my X-Side guys, they're just unbelievable. They got a lot of heart. I just screwed up 2 weeks in a row here. We're going to suffer a little bit in points, but we'll be back at Watkins Glen.
That was a really hard hit. I mean, no shoulder problems or anything?
No, that's what this team makes me do. Keep in shape, drink a lot of fluids. I had to go pee when I was inside the truck. It's tough. I really feel bad. I'm making too many mistakes. I've been looking like a rookie lately. I'm starting to catch up.
All right, Kurt Busch, hard lesson tonight when his truck was not running well at all, guys, and he fought it all evening long.
Well, Kurt, on a NASCAR online poll, was voted to be the next driver to win their first race of 2000 by those who dialed up the website. It's going to have to wait for at least one more week. We're getting ready to go back to green flag racing here at Kentucky Speedway, the inaugural event of this beautiful 1.5-mile facility. Greg Biffle on point, Randy Tolsma, David Starr,
Green flag.
Mike Wallace. We're back to green on lap 120. Starr did not get a very good start. He has been passed by both Marty Houston and Mike Wallace. He's back to 5th.
And there's Jack Sprague on the inside of David Starr as we see Biffle go by, Tolsma, Marty Houston, and there's a battle between Jack Sprague and David Starr. But Starr now has the slow car of Coy Gibbs, the MBNA truck, uses him as a pick, and meanwhile Sprague is getting a challenge from Rick Crawford.
And Crawford, right side by side. Look at this. We're going to go 3 wide for a bit. Hold on, guys. Oof.
Wow. There's Rick Corelli, the 66 truck. Great run going tonight for Corelli.
Seeing some sparking. That's a low-riding truck. Nothing to worry about there. There is. Sprague has now fended off the challenge of Rick Crawford and Rick Corelli. 30 laps to go here at Kentucky. Greg Biffle's opened up about a 7/10 of a second lead. We're back on board with Crawford and our Lucas. That's Crawford's radio. His crew telling him he's the man. Right now, that man's in 7th spot. He'd like to get 6th and then 5th. See up ahead, there goes Sprague. He's going underneath David Starr. That is for position. So bump Starr back to 6th. All 4 trucks there. In fact, all 5. There is Brian Refner. Refner, who had the dominant truck early. He's trying to fight his way back into it. In fact, Refner has led more laps than anybody right now of the 6 guys who have led in this race. Starr gets bumped back another position. This time Crawford moves him to 7th.
And here comes Refner. He's gotten by the 66 of Corelli. Now he's on the inside of the 7. Now he's on the inside, trying to get on the inside of Crawford to take that spot away.
So Brian Refner, realizing that the laps are starting to wind down, trying to get the Johns Manville Chevrolet back up towards the front. Crawford slams the door on him going down into 1.
Well, he goes up the hill that time. Brian Refner goes to the corner, gets the Milwaukee Electric Tools Ford a little bit loose, takes a spot away.
Now he sets his sights on Jack Sprague. Sprague in the 5th spot.
Right now, Refner about almost 5 seconds behind the leader, Greg Biffle.
And while all this action is going on, we're on board with Andy Houston now. We're going to go 3 wide again. Look out. We made it
3 wide on the bottom, 2 wide, 2 wide. Still out there. Clear.
And Scott Riggs, the 86 RC Colin truck, just thought about taking a look, did not go down in the corner. That was very wise, Scott.
While all this great action is going on, we'll just let you know that Biffle's lead is now up to 1 second over Tolsma. Look at this. There is the 46 Axiom Ford. That's for position as well. Rob Morgan in 12th. All those trucks are duking it out for position.
Well, Norrick has joined that group. The 90 Aventus Chevrolet. Now we see Corelli going by on the outside. 2nd spot battle.
Yep, that's Mike Wallace underneath Randy Tolsma. Tolsma runs up the hill a little bit, allows Marty Houston underneath as well, so Tolsma goes from second to fourth. Biffle has just crossed the stripe. There is the finish line. That gives you an idea what 2.3 seconds looks like on the racetrack. 24 laps to go. Biffle all of a sudden has found the right combination, BP. He's opening up a big lead. There it is.
Well, Kurt Busch talked about it, and I'm sure that Biffle's truck is very similar, that his truck really ran good by itself. When he got around other trucks is when he had problems. Right now, Biffle is out there by himself. Maybe this is the best situation he could be in.
Well, Biffle comes by one more time and still is your race leader here by 2.5 seconds at the Kroger 225. You're looking at race leader Greg Biffle. We've got a crash. Oh no, Scott Riggs has got it turned around. Can he keep it off the inside wall? No.
There's just too much mud. And the worst part about it, the truck is probably still running, but he will never ever get out of that mud because of all the rain.
Come down on you.
That's the 86.
That's what it looked like. Stuck, fellas. We're done for tonight. I'm stuck.
And that's right. It's so much mud back there, he just simply can't get it out of there.
So, Scott Riggs, who has done so well since taking over for Mike Copen this ride, he can't get it out. Take a look. It's Rick Corelli on the high side.
They come off the corner, Corelli on the outside, and Riggs just does not have that wall of air to lean against when he comes off the corner because Corelli's out there. The truck gets loose, and around he goes, almost saved that thing, but when he gets in the mud, he is a goner.
And he just kisses the wall. Take another look. Do they touch here?
No, I don't think so. I think he just lost the wall of air that you lean against as you come off the corner. Corelli was out there and just didn't have it.
And you're right, BP, if he was able to keep it from bogging down in the mud, he'd be okay because he just barely touched the wall. Real time from straight on.
Almost saved it in the mud. There's no way.
Let's go on board with Andy Houston, right behind.
And we see there was never any contact between the two vehicles.
Great example of aerodynamics and how it can affect these race trucks. And look at this crew trying to get him out. And about 4 or 5 of those guys are going to look real good by the end of this deal.
It's going to take a real long cable, I'm afraid, to get this truck out of there.
We're into our 9th caution here, and we're going to take a commercial break. We'll try and get Scott Riggs out of the mud and go back to green flag racing. The laps are winding down.
With only 18 laps remaining, the question is who has anything for Greg Biffle and Mike Wallace running 1 and 2. Right now, according to Randy Tolsma, he does not have enough for him. He actually radioed in that he let the 2 in the 75 by, and the 2 radioed back from their spotter that they thanked them. Randy figured that was better than holding him off. As for Marty Houston, I checked with crew chief Freddie Fryer, and Freddie says we're really tight when we get behind a truck, and we can get up beside him, we're okay. It's going to be close.
We're ready to go back to green flag racing here at Kentucky Speedway, the inaugural running. Look at the fans that have stayed through our 2 rain delays. It has been a huge, boy, Biffle really slowed it down and now gets on the hammer.
Trying to get just a little bit of a jump on Mike Wallace on this restart.
And he did.
Looks like he did get that.
3 trucks back. 3 trucks back.
I don't know exactly which radio. That's Biffle's radio, and he's talking about 3 trucks back. Well, that would be Tolsma.
No, he was talking about that he did get that 3 truck length jump on Mike Wallace.
Good point.
It looks like he's increased to 4 or 5 truck lengths right now.
Good point. Right now, Biffle's lead is half a second.
5 truck lengths back. Talking about Mike Wallace.
Marty Houston in third. This would be a career-high finish for Marty if he can hang on to that spot. Trying to break up the draft down the backstretch. Houston in that Spear Chevrolet. The best they had done prior to this was Biffle saying that's the best he can do.
The guys behind him are a little bit slower.
We had mentioned Marty Houston. His best was last week at Texas when he came home in 7th, but this would be by far his best run in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. There is Refner. You saw him coming up on the back of Jack Sprague. Those guys trying to get back in this mix. They may be able to get around Tolsma. You remember, Dave Burns said that Tolsma didn't have anything left, although I don't think he wants to give up any more positions. Let's check at the line, see who's got the quick truck.
And we see Brian Refner. That's really not a shot. It's a 3 truck. Would be the fastest truck on that lap.
Problem is, BP, he's running out of laps. We've got 14 to go. He's got a lot of track to cover.
Yes, he does. And we see Biffle. That shows you just how soft springs they run on the left side when he goes down and try to break the draft and comes back up. The left side goes down and the exhaust pipe goes to the racetrack.
Well, you just heard Greg say that he is struggling. He's doing the best he can, Benny. A big question now, can he hold on?
That lap, he was quicker than all the rest of them, but he just doesn't seem to be pulling away from Mike Wallace that much.
We came awfully close to the turn 2 wall. Down into 3. One more time at the line. Will be quickest this time by.
How about that? That time Randy Tolsma had the quick lap.
By about 1/10 of a mile an hour.
And right now, Randy Tolsma, we saw that Sprague and Refner right behind him. He has driven away from those 2 trucks and closed up on the back bumper of the 75 of Marty Houston.
So maybe some new life for Randy Tolsma's hopes, as he has closed that gap on board with Mike Wallace. Wallace hoping for career victory number 4. Remember, he won the inaugural running at Daytona. He'd like to make it 2 for 2 in that department. Right now, Greg Biffle leads by 1.3 seconds.
There's a terrific battle going on for this 2nd spot.
Marty Houston tries to look underneath, can't get the job done.
And I would think we see Ryan McGlynn.
Caution flag is out, turn 1.
Caution flag is out down in turn 1.
Just what Greg Biffle did not want to see, because we're at the lap 140 mark. There's Randy Goss, crew chief for Greg Biffle, and we're probably going to need another tow truck to get Ryan McGlynn out of this one.
I don't know. He blew a left rear tire is what caused the spin. We see the tire is flat and it's torn the quarter panel.
He's trying to get her out.
Yeah, looks like he might make it.
And he did.
I guess that, and we see Ryan McGlynn spinning down. I don't think other trucks involved. I just believe that the left rear tire simply went flat, and
he may have cut it. Look at it, it's shredded right there.
Yeah.
So Ryan McGlynn gets it out, but that's our 10th caution of the evening. Stay with us. We're under 10 laps to go. That means all lead trucks to the front. We'll start single file at the Kroger 225 when we come back. Back at Kroger 225 at Kentucky Speedway, there is your race leader, Greg Biffle. You heard him before say it's doing all he can to hold on to this race lead. There will be 6 laps remaining when we go back to green flag racing next time by. Dave, you got an update on the 75 and the 25?
Deals being made down here right now. The 25 crew of Tolsma went over and talked to Freddie Fryer, the crew chief for Marty Houston. and he said, we'll help you get by on the bottom if you will help us get back by on the top. We're better on the top, according to Tolsma. So they may try to work together on the bottom. The draft is really being used a lot here tonight, guys. And as we know, 2 trucks are faster than 1 when drafting is involved.
Yeah, do you trust anybody, VP, in this situation?
Not really, because they'll be trying to make that deal, but they'll be doing it with one eye in the mirror, trying to figure out if the guy's going to live up to the bargain.
Well, with Greg Biffle, he could pick up career victory number 12. It would be number 4 for Mike Wallace, number 1 for Marty Houston, and it would be number 2 for Randy Tolsma. And we're about ready to go back to green flag racing as they approach. Boy, Biffle has really slowed it down. And he does it again. He gets Mike Wallace really slow. And now Marty Houston going underneath Wallace.
And that's really what Greg Biffle needs. He needs for Wallace to be defensive more than offensive. But now here comes Houston back on the inside.
Heading out of turn 2 down the back stretch. The drag race, and it's allowed Biffle to open up a nice lead. Marty Houston.
Oh, that was close. They're still side by side, but Mike Wallace seems to have a run. And look at Tolsma, that great run he has. And here's Sprague on the inside.
Sprague and Refner, and oh my goodness, it's like 3 and 4, and everybody knocking on the door. Meanwhile, Biffle's just running away and hiding, but this is great racing. There's Sprague again. He's going to try the high side on Houston. He may have him. You can hear the breathing of the motor. Wallace gets out, back into the throttle. This time by 4 laps to go. Look at the lead Biffle has been able to get because these guys have been beating and banging on each other. Refner gets around Tolsma.
Looks like it takes a few laps for Tolsma's truck, that Sitco truck, to come in and start really working. We saw how fast he was. Now trucks are passing. Andy Houston trying to make a pass on the inside, the cat truck.
There's Tolsma. Biffle, this time by, will lead his 50th lap. That will tie him with Refner. So 1 more lap led, and it'll be 5 more bonus points for our points leader, Greg Biffle. Is this a statement race? Yes, you better believe it if he can hold on. Down the back stretch, 2.5 laps to go. Everybody else is sort of falling into lockstep. I don't think anybody has anything left, VP.
Well, it looks like they've given all they have. Sprague is going to try it on the inside. Can't quite make it. Wallace is running the outside line, and he really gets a good run off the corners.
2 laps remaining. The lead by Greg Biffle's 1.6 seconds. You can throw a blanket over 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. There's the margin down the backstretch. This time by, it'll be the white flag lap. Biffle in the green.
God, dang it, I could hardly drive it. Woo! I'll make 1 more for you guys, though.
Flag.
You got the 00 going slow through turn 2.
Max Jones telling his driver there's Ryan McGlynn going slow. Down the back straightaway for Greg Biffle will be his 3rd win of 2000. His 12th career win, and you will be the inaugural winner, the first man ever to take the checkered flag at Kentucky.
Great job, guys. I'm home free now.
Comes off of turn number 4. The big volcano has just erupted one more time. Look at the run for second. Sprague gets around Wallace. Marty Houston 4th, Refner 5th. So Sprague with a last minute, last lap, last second effort to get past Mike Wallace. And there is your race winner, Greg Biffle. Boy, I bet you that crew's breathing a lot easier now. Greg Biffle heading for victory lane at the Kroger 225. We'll talk to him when we come back here at Kentucky Speedway. Biffle, 29 over Sprague, 54 over Wallace, 94 over Houston.
You need me?
Okie doke.
All right, thank y'all.
See you, BP. Good job, buddy. Have a safe trip. So, okay. It is a Kroger 225, right? Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, man. Okay, closing billboards. No billboards. Okay, sorry. Okay. Uh-huh. So, Jill, do you want me to yank him right out of the truck then? You know what I'm saying? If you're coming back with me? See you guys. Yeah, in other words, let him get unbuckled, helmet off. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Okay. So do you care if radio goes while he's still in the truck? Okay. Yeah. Okay. An inaugural race, that's okay. Everybody doing their job. I'm ready for you, but go ahead. Here at the Kroger 225, Greg Biffle steps out of the Granger.com Ford and celebrates victory number 3 for the year 2000 season. And just like last week, he gets to shower everybody in sight with Gatorade. And a great victory for him here today, but it wasn't without its struggles. When we talked to Greg during the rain delay, Greg, you said you didn't think the truck was anywhere near ready to win this race. What did you guys do on that final stop that made it so good?
I'll tell you, they lowered the track bar and made some air pressure adjustments just like we planned, and you know, I just lived with Goss in that tire decision. You know, we had cords showing on 40-lap tires, and he's got 64, so I just said, we got to do it. It's the only way we can win is get out in front of him with undisturbed air. I tell you, the Granger Ford, what a great job of pit stops, the engine department. I mean, man, the thing just ran great. I'm so excited.
And he will take home the checkered flag for the 3rd time, and of course, here at Kentucky, the inaugural win in the Kroger 225. Marty, it was something.
I'll tell you what, he has made another statement that he is the guy that you're going to have to deal with now, he and Sprague. And let's take a look at the results. Biffle, by 3 laps, gets the 5 extra bonus points for leading the most laps. That's what the double arrows mean. All our other leaders have 1 arrow. Sprague 2nd, Wallace 3rd, Marty Houston a career best 4th. And there you see we had 18 trucks on the lead lap. And Kurt Busch all the way down to 29th position. Even though he led some of the laps, that crash is going to hurt him in the points championship. You can see how many trucks did not finish the race, a total of 6, counting Kurt Busch. And that's about going to wrap it up on this first edition of the Kroger 225. Take a look at the points now. Greg Biffle's lead is 29 over Jack Sprague, 54 over Mike Wallace, 94 over Andy Houston. But notice Tolsma moves up to 7th. And poor Joe Rutman has dropped out of the top 10. So that's about going to wrap it up for us here this week. But next weekend, we've got doubleheader action coming to you from Watkins Glen. It'll be the Bully Hill Vineyards 150, 1:30 Eastern, Saturday on ESPN from Watkins Glen. Then it'll be on Sunday, the Busch Series, Lysol 200. That's noon Eastern time on ESPN. That's all next weekend. So we'll see you then. For Benny Parsons and Dave Burns and Amy East, thanks for sticking it out with us. I'm Marty Reed. We'll see you next time we go racing on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Greg Biffle, your winner for the 3rd time this season, 2nd in a row. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of Go Network, go.com. We'll see you next week. So long, everybody.